Welcome back to the Nullified Take channel, where we've got the TNT takes for you on the Challenge All-Stars 3, also hosted on Reality Realness with 3 S's today. And we've got Drew from the Angelcake Entertainment channel, as always, a part of this trio that will be dissecting everything the Challenge and All-Stars here for you this season. And I am so excited. It feels like it has been ages since I've been able to talk to both Drew and Chantele about the Challenge, and I know we did a little bit of off-season content, I guess, on Drew's channel, on both my channel and Chantele's channel, but it really just hasn't felt like it has been enough. So to have a season back on our screens that we can dissect and talk about is really exciting for me. Chantele, how are you doing? How's things been on your end since the last time that we spoke?
Well, I definitely realized that I've been missing the Challenge. You know, we talked a little bit about the Challenge, CBS coming around and, you know, trying to get hyped around that. But no matter what, that was always going to be all the way into the summer. And so, like, I was like, okay, well, what's happening now in the Challenge? Like, what's going on? And so it's really nice to be back in the Challenge world again, seeing all the pictures. They did a really good job with those photos for the press photos. Like, they look so good. And so I'm really excited to talk about this cast. I'm really excited to get a really good draft because we're taking you down, Drew. Taking you down.
Drew, how you doing, buddy? You're the defending champion. You've got all the pressure coming into this season to try and go back-to-back like CT, you know, this season.
And I plan to. I don't think anybody can read my chalkboard because of my lighting, but it says keeping the crown. So I'm planning on drafting well. I had done a rewatch recently, since July. I watched all the seasons, so I feel like I have a good vibe on this season so far on the competitors. And also I did a shot for shot trailer breakdown before coming in here. So I have my draft sheet. I have my draft order ready to go. And yeah, I'm excited. The only thing I will say about those cast photos is that when Variety or whoever got the leak for the first hour, it seemed like they got done photos before they even put all the different stuff on them, like the jungle theme or anything, because they were not all the same size. They were all kind of just bare minimum white background, gray background, and some of them were kind of blurry. So when I had to do those were the only photos for the longest time. So I had to just do those for the video. And then 3 hours later, the Challenge dropped the jungle theme, the exact the nice professional photos that I wish I had for the video when I published it. So to me, I feel like the Challenge was holding their cards close to the vest. Like, you can have these photos, but we'll keep the ones that are really good for us at 4 p.m., 1 p.m. California time to really drop on our own stuff. But,
they're like, gotcha.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, well, at least you got the content out there, and that's the key thing, right? Getting the content out there nice and early. And I am really excited about this season because I think this is the first time that I'm going to be talking about an All-Star season where I only maybe don't know one person, and the second person I don't know too well, but I've seen them on 1 or 2 seasons. So I'm excited. Normally I come into this and I make a really crazy pick, like last season with Casey. It worked out in my favor, but hopefully I don't, step onto any landmines here this season. But did you guys have some time to prepare and strategize as to how you are going to be playing this one? And also, I guess, Chantele, now that we have 1 season of Drew's mathematician approach to this draft, there's a lot of points involved and it's not just about winning outright. Do you feel like you're a little bit better prepared for this draft pick today?
Well, it always happens. No matter what, I usually pick with who I like and who I want to root for. And so that's usually what gets me in trouble with drafts, is because it's I don't want the person that's going to get me the most points sometimes because I don't want them to do well, So that's kind of where I've been unsure of how do I want to play. Do I want to play with my heart or play with my head? We'll have to see.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Drew, obviously, you're the mad mathematician that came up with this point system here that we're going to be using, and I'm going to bring up a little bit of a spreadsheet. I don't think we'll be sharing this the whole time, but Drew, if you could talk us through what this is, because I think a few people will look at this and think, whoa, what is going on here? How is the points going to work here this season as we choose our draft players, and what's the changes from last season?
All right, so it's very similar to last season's fantasy draft, where confessionals will be 1 point, daily challenges one will be 5 points, elimination wins will be 3 points, kissing and making out, which hasn't been a ton over the past few seasons of All-Stars, but 2 points for those. Arguments and drama, 2 points, which those can be a lot, especially with some of the feisty people on this season of All-Stars. DQs, -2. Try to stay away from those. Finals, 10 points. If your players make the finals, then you get a 10-point bonus, and then wins. Whoever wins will get 50 points. So if it's one person or 2 people, if somebody has those players, they will get 50 points. And to make it seem not like a super runaway, we do have like bonus points, a plus 25 bonus that we've added this season. So if you're going into the finals, or if you have a player that has the most confessionals over the whole season, you'll get a plus 25 points. Most daily wins, if you have a player that has more daily wins on the season, you'll get plus 24 points. The same with most elimination wins. Winning phases in the finals, if it's a multi-phase final, you can win 25 points. I think I had Nehemiah and Melinda who won the first phase. And so I would have gotten a plus 50 points last season if this was the case. And then the most points heading into the finals, you get plus 25 points. So this is all to really help balance out any lopsidedness. I think last season I was just tanking tanking in a good way, but I was just like plowing through with points because I had so many people. So it really benefited me, but not so much Chris. But coming into now, even if somebody has maybe 2 players to somebody's 4 players, they can still make up a lot if, say, their players are having the most confessionals, most daily wins, and is just being the most active on the season.
Yeah.
And that's going to be overall, right? So like, it doesn't have to be a person left in the game still that would get those additional points, or would it be over, like if you had it on your team the whole season? Sorry, just to clarify.
So the only ones that are actually in the game would be winning phases in the finals. So the person has to be in the finals and win a phase to get those plus 25 points. And then the most points heading into the finals. So
okay, cool.
Whoever player has the most points overall would get plus 25 points, but everything else is postseason. It's like the bonus stars in Mario Party. So most confessionals, most daily wins, and most elimination wins. You would be sitting there going like, well, that player would have a lot of points, but Darrell won a ton of daily challenges and Chris didn't have the most points. So if, say, Darrell would to win more daily challenges and make it to the finals again, you would get an added plus 25 points on top of everything else that he's already won over the course of the season. So it's just trying to help balance that out. It could make things more lopsided or it could really help things out. You never know.
All right. Well, Drew, you also, because you're the defending champion, you get to choose the order for things today. So who's going to go first, second, and third? And will we start with males or females today? I'm assuming we're doing male. How do we want to do it? Are we going to do the snake draft like we did last season? So who's starting and who do we pick first?
So I'm not going to lie. This was the hardest decision coming into this, is trying to figure out the order and which gender would we start with, because I'm sitting there going like, I could go over stats. I can go over everything. I could be like, oh, I can know who I want to pick first, who I want to pick whenever. I could go through people's stats all day. But when coming down here and being like, okay, what's the draft order? I was like, this is another strategy put on me that I was just like bombarding myself with it, to where I was stressing myself out on this. And it took me like 2 days to try to figure this out. And I still don't think I made the right decision, but I'm going to pick first, of course. So I'm going to pick first. Chris, I want to give you the benefit of having the better overall placement. So you're not getting disadvantage on one and advantage on the other. You're just going to be very consistent in getting second. And then Chantele, I know I'm giving you an advantage in some aspects, but I'm trying to give you a disadvantage because you were so close to me at one point last season. So I have you picking third. So the way we have it, I want to go with starting with the guys. So I would get the advantage on the guys, and then on the way back would be the women. The guys are very stacked.
Try not to smile right now.
The guys are very stacked this season, and I'm nervous. I really want to get the advantage on that side, where I feel like there's maybe a little bit more. I don't know.
Nervous.
a little bit more flexibility to the women on the season. That maybe one,
Agreed.
there's many that could surprise us, and then some that could do well. So that's how I am looking at this.
Okay, I'm nervous about that order myself
I'm
because
a little bit nervous, not gonna lie.
especially because Drew gets to go first here. It may change the order of the first three guys that I have as well, because I've got a feeling I know who Drew's going to pick. I just have a feeling about this, and I will say it if he does pick that person. I'm going to be annoyed, but it's okay.
Go.
We're gonna go into it. Let me do a quick share screen here of the draft that we're gonna be doing. This is gonna be a lot of fun, guys. Now I did notice when I started cropping these photos, and for some other reason, this app cuts the upper half of their heads out. So I'll figure that out during the week so that we've got better pictures there. Yeah, but we know who they are. And I think, Drew, you've got the floor. You're going to start us off here. We've got a lot to work through, so let's just get into it and rip the Band-Aid off.
Can I just say that I'm nervous for the sole fact that I think every time we've done a draft of us three, I've always picked second. I've always been the second pick, whether it was All-Stars the first season or the second season, whenever we did our thing, the Challenge 37. I think I was always the second pick, and it worked out well for me the last two times by having a ton of people. So I am nervous about this. I'm switching it up. I even thought about putting myself second, but I just didn't do it. All right, enough stalling. I would be a fool not to pick this person first overall, and it is none other than Wes Bergman. I'm going to pick him first. He is in a ton of the commercial, the trailer. I think that he is going to have a ton of confessionals. He seems to be he could be going far this season. I just think that he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. At one point in the trailer, he says that he wants to play the messiest game anybody has ever seen. And I'm here for it. I'm here for him starting arguments. I'm here for him stirring the pot. And I'm here for him getting all the confessionals, and he has a great elimination record. So if he goes into elimination, I think he could take on anybody on this list. So I would be a fool not to pick Wes. I think he's going to be a point machine in this season.
He's my number one. I got it. I agree.
That gets to the heart. That gets to the heart. Yeah, no, 100%. He's my number one as well. So, and I knew as soon as you said you're going to go guys first. I mean, Wes is all over the trailer, like you said. He has that scene where he's telling everybody he's going to win boldly in front of everybody in the trailer. I do believe he can do that, but I will say, when has Wes not played a messy game? Like, he's always at the center of controversy. The only negative for Wes coming into this season, if we had to nitpick something here, there's no rookies for him to manipulate, which is a big part of his strategy normally when he is out there. But I think even looking at the guy, he's in shape, he's looking lean. The gun show has grown a bit since the last time he was out there. He got humiliated in the last time that he played against someone that he shouldn't have lost down in an elimination. He's going to be hungry coming back. He's going to want to prove why he is one of the best, So good first pick, Drew. Hate you for it, but understand it 100%. I don't know, Chantele, if there's anything else to add to Wes here, but he's going to be exciting to watch. I'm really excited to see him on this season.
Yeah, I obviously agree with all the points that you guys have made. I have him in my number one position. I definitely think that he has something to prove, but he also doesn't take himself too seriously. So I think he's going to have tons of confessionals. I think that he's going to play hard. He doesn't care that much about necessarily winning. So I think he's going to want to make good TV and make good moves and really amplify the season. So I think that he's going to be one of the biggest catalysts as to how well the season does. And I've been hearing that out of all three All-Star seasons, this one's the best. And I really do feel it's because Wes is on this season. So definitely a great pick. I don't think either of us would have given him up if he was on the board. So yeah, you took one from both of us.
Yeah, you made the right decision in regards to how you picked this draft, because he was going to go every time. I saw a lot of people in the chat before we even started mentioning him as well. Now, I don't know if I should go with the original order of what I wanted to pick here and who I wanted to pick because of that, because the second pick is going to either kill me or it is going to go deep and it's going to go very well for me. But I have to respect, I'm going to respect the order of what I chose before I came in here, even though this is probably going to kill me. This person's very capable. But if Wes is dominating the season, I don't know how this person's going to do, and it's going to be Jordan. I'm going to pick Jordan as my first guy. I have to respect the fact that pound for pound, season for season, the guy's got a phenomenal record at winning this thing. He's someone that will not be a slouch when it comes to confessionals. He's going to be a part of conversations. He's going to create drama. So I do think points-wise, even if he does go early, I will get points because he's not going to be what we call a purple edit in Survivor, you know? So I think we'll get that. And also he's got a chance of winning dailies. The only fear here for me with Jordan is Wes and Jordan, they don't always see eye to eye. There is a rivalry there. So if Wes gets control of the house, Jordan might not see it for long. I'm hoping, and I'm crossing my fingers, that these guys look at it this way. They're both newbies to All-Stars. They're both massive threats. Can they do a Wes and Bananas and find a way to work together? Now, I've got no doubt that Wes can do that. I doubt Jordan more than Wes. Like, Jordan is just such a stubborn person and he's inflexible sometimes when it comes to his strategy in the game that makes me very nervous. So I just feel like I have to pick him here, even though maybe Chantele would have not picked him. I don't know who your second pick would have been, but I mean, obviously he can either go really far, win this whole thing, or I can see him flame out early. Chantele, what do you think of Jordan? Did I have a pick here that you would have gone for next, or were you not going to take that risk?
It would have depended on who you had taken next if it wasn't for him. So he was definitely up there in my considerations. But I would be, fluctuating between a couple other people. So, but definitely I would be considering him for my next pick for sure. I think Jordan is a great competitor. At the fact that he's coming back to All-Stars, I thought he was done from the challenge for good. So him coming back, I think that he's going to be probably a cause of some sort of drama. We know that Naya and him are going to be on the season together. I can see them, working together and creating some drama. Because I've heard that they've kind of made up and they're friends again. So I do think that he might be a different player maybe than we've seen in the past. He kind of doesn't usually get in with the politics of it all. He's kind of a little bit of an outlier. So I'm curious if that's going to be his same strategy this time around. And that's kind of why I was a little bit worried about him, is that he's not necessarily the one that plays it up for the camera and all that jazz. I mean, obviously with the flipping of the skulls, that's one thing, but he's not that showboaty really, other than in eliminations and stuff like that. So wasn't sure how he's going to play out the season. And kind of like you said, Chris, when you were drafting him, you're like, this could really help you or hurt you. And I kind of feel that way about him too. I think he's an excellent player. I think he's potentially could do well, but he could also put himself in a situation where he goes home because of his ego and his pride. So good pick, but I would also be a little bit like, going to do well this season. Yeah,
I'm very scared. This can go one of either ways. But the other thing I also forgot to mention just before, Drew, I'll give you an opportunity to comment on Jordan as well, is that obviously he's had a very public breakup with Tori. Tori's gone on to continue coming back to the challenge, and she's even now got the podcast. You can't tell me a guy like Jordan does not, secretly have a chip on his shoulder because of that. And that's why I like him coming back, because both him and Wes, I feel like, have got something to prove here this season. And if both of them go far and there's drama, that could be why this is one of the better seasons this season.
So I think, because I was able to put together where I was going to draft or where everybody was going to draft, I had Jordan kind of a second tier kind of pick for me. If he was on the board next round of my next guy's pick, I would have picked him. But because I have Wes, I knew I had the confessionals already down. I knew I had the arguments kind of down, and Jordan is sort of a similar player in that type of way. So I was going to maybe risk it with Jordan because everybody was saying, he has that he's been abrasive in some, or he comes off as very argumentative in a lot of his seasons. If you watch Dirty 30, he's yelling at people for leaving peanut butter jars open and on the counter all night. And then he's also yelling at the turf being moved on Total Madness and just being argumentative a lot. So he will get you a lot of points in that way. And he probably is going to win some daily challenges, and he's probably going to be thrown into eliminations and possibly win a few there. But it's going to be one of those, what Sandy P has said in the comment section, that Jordan hasn't done a ton of challenges with a lot of these competitors. He's done a season with Wes, which has not worked out for him in the past. He's done a season with Jonna in Rivals 2, where they were kind of like kissing and like making out here and there. He's also done with Naya and Kailah on Dirty 30, but majority of this cast, and I think also, no, not Sylvia. No, not Sylvia. But he hasn't done a ton of them. So, I mean, with you talking about Wes and him having a conflict with each other, there's a ton of people that Wes has in his back pocket on this season. He has the Real World Austin Alliance. He has a lot of friends on this cast list. So, I mean, if he tells everybody we need to take a shot at Jordan, he doesn't just have Wes pointing fingers at him. He has Nehemiah. He has Melinda. He has Kellyanne. He has Darrell knows exactly who Jordan is. And so, I mean, there is a huge target on Jordan's back if, say, what you were saying, that they haven't mended those fences since Total Madness, which I don't know if they have. But I think you did a great job picking him first, because he's going to get you a lot of points, whether he's there for 3 episodes or all the way up to the finals. And if he makes the finals, it's going to be tough to take him down in the finals. As we've seen, he's 75% in the finals. In the 4 finals that he's been to, he's won 3 of them. So I think it's a very solid pick.
I'm very interested. I mean, based on past experience, I agree. Like, I just had to give him that respect, but I'm very interested now to know.
And you're an ageist as well.
Oh, here we go. Early shots fired. Chantele, go. For those who don't know, who've only just listened, I've seen a lot of people here in the live stream today saying they're really happy to have the 3 of us back. And I mean, we're loving being back here to put on a show for you guys. For those that have actually followed the podcasts that we've done in the past, I normally choose the younger people when it comes to all stuff, because I always feel like they'll have more stamina and endurance. It hasn't worked for me so far. Well, I guess Jemmye was the youngest female last season, so there's some theory behind the madness.
I do want to just say real quick that it was really funny, and it's totally on brand for Chris, that with the second pick, only one person was taken before him, and he goes, I think I should just go off the rails. Like, I don't know if I should go with my order pick. I got to change it up already. I was like, oh no, it's only the second pick and you're tilted. Keep with it.
This is how I do things, guys. You know, I don't plan or prepare for these things probably the same way you guys do. I just like to go all in. And it has gotten me 1 win in the past, the challenge 38, Chantele and I shared that. So it's not completely out there for me to do wild picks and do okay, I guess, at the end of the season. Chantele, over to you. Who is going to be your first guy pick?
Well, I am going to stick with my order, and it will be probably a little bit surprising because it's not usually who I would go for, and it's not who the chat is suggesting me to go for, which is going to probably be surprising to you two. Well, now I'm considering, the points here, who's going to potentially get a lot of points and who is well insulated. And that person is going to be Wes's right-hand man, Nehemiah. Like, I have to go with him because now that Nehemiah he's kind of gone to the dark side, safety palace. Like, he knows what it's like to strategize now. And so I think that him and Wes will be able to work together in this game. And he has obviously the number with Melinda. He has the relationships as well with the people from the previous season. Like, Jonna might be mad at him, but I think she got over it when she won the season, So I definitely think that he is going to do at least as well as he did last season. And he has Wes, who is like one of the best strategists of the whole series. So I think that Nehemiah, he had tons of points that he got last season for confessionals. I think that he's going to be able to, he knows what it feels like now to get to the end, and he knows what it feels like now to be a strategist. And now he's going to also have Wes in the game. Like, I think that those two are going to be unstoppable. So I want to get on that train. So Nehemiah is my first guy pick.
So when I said that I was going to potentially change my order, I actually had Jordan as my second person. So even though it's a crazy pick, the reason that I got nervous is because I was like, hoping somehow by the grace of God, I would get Wes as my first pick, and then I could take more of a risky second pick. But Nehemiah was my third guy pick. Like, I was thinking between these two, and Nehemiah has had a really good run, I feel like, on All Stars now. His third season coming in, he's got connections. He's also featured quite a bit in the trailer. Last season, I mean, to be honest, he should have won last season. So we know he can win finals. So yeah, I like him. I like him as a pick. I've always liked Nehemiah.
Your
Nehemiah
little
is
tenderoni.
my little tenderoni. I'm always behind Nehemiah, so I think that it's a pretty solid pick here. And you're right, he's going to be, I think, central to a few storylines with the connections that he's got this season. Drew, you seemed a bit shocked here by this pick, so I'm feeling like you may have had Nehemiah a little bit lower on your list.
So there's no way I was going to let Wes slip after the first pick, because there was no way Wes was going to snake back to me. I was praying that Nehemiah would be able to sneak back to me. Nehemiah was my main man last season. On the same spreadsheet, I have the All-Stars 2 scoreboards, and he had 60 confessionals last season, which is incredible. 2 daily wins. He had 2 elimination wins, a total of 90 points, which was way high on a lot. I mean, I think he was my second highest scorer after Jonna, who only got 116 after she got the plus 25 or 50 point win. So, I mean, he was by far my top scorer for majority of the season. And he had great storylines last season. He's building up. He has Wes. I think he's going to feel so much more in power. And I think he's just going to have that much bigger impact on this season. And I was just praying that, I don't know, he would just slip down and I would have easily got him in the second round. He would have been my next guy pick easily. But yeah, it was a good pick. It was a good pick.
I don't play it safe, but if I played it safe, I should have gone for Nehemiah. That was the calculation I was making in my head when I said, oh, maybe I should just mix it up slightly here. So well done on that first pick there for your guy, Chantele. All the pressure now on you because you're also making the first female
I forgot
pick.
It's me again. Oh my god. I actually don't know, because now I'm second guessing myself. But
why? You just made such a great pick and you're second guessing yourself after that?
Well,
real quick.
Go ahead.
Nehemiah was my number 2 guy. Just throwing that out there. I put him at number 2. I think he would get it done. If he's not getting the confessionals because Jordan and Wes are getting the confessionals, Nehemiah is getting the wins, the daily wins, the elimination wins. So he was my number 2 guy. So just throwing that out there.
I'm glad I picked that way. So I'm scared with this pick because I got burned last season. But I just don't think that I can let her go. I know that she disappointed us. I know that we wanted more for her. But the fact that she came back and she's well insulated with having one of her best friends on the challenge. She also, I think, is going to now be connected, maybe even with another person. I think she's going to be better insulated and going to have a better time, which means that she's going to be a little bit more diabolical and have a little bit more fun and have maybe even more confessionals. So, Tina, I got to take Tina. I know she quit last season and I was mad at her for it, but she came back. She always is a confessional queen. Last season, she even did well in some of those challenges. She at least won one daily, came close a few times. She's not a bad competitor. And I think that having Veronica and then, by proxy, having Jemmye could be potentially good for her. And so I want to see how well she can do. And I hope this configuration is going to be good for her. If anything, she's getting into fights, getting into confessionals. I think that she will be a point receiver. So I got to go with Tina. I can't let either of you guys have her.
Yeah, I think that you could have kept her for a little bit later. I think she would have come back to you most likely. I don't know if Drew would have picked her this high, but we'll get into that pretty soon. I wouldn't have personally, but I think this is where I think that this is where your heart comes in when you said you do make some picks based on who you want to see go out there and do really well. And you obviously have that reference for her because you watched back in the day when she played as well. But based on the All-Stars performance that I saw last season, I'm not as high on her, but I do think from a points side, she could be similar to Jordan. She could be, even if she goes third or fourth, she could have a lot of confessionals, get you a lot of points early on in the season. I think Drew's answer to this would be the more interesting one because I probably would have let her slip. But Drew, where do you rate Tina?
So in my draft order, I have her 5th. So I have her kind of in the middle. Again, I have Wes, so I'm kind of counting on him to go far, have a lot of confessionals. But Tina is a great pick for the confessionals, for the fights. she does have the wild card ability of just at one point just being like, I'm done. I don't want to do this or whatever. But she does say in the trailer, you can clearly hear her in the video saying, I want to right this wrong. And it shows her like ringing a bell in an elimination. So it feels as though that she came to play. She's going to have more people behind her with Veronica from back in the day. Veronica has Jemmye. So I think they're going to be a power trio. And so I think Tina is a solid pick. I don't know if anybody saw my reaction, but that was my reaction because I did not expect Tina to go first overall for the women. So
lovable Nikki saw it. She said you should calm down.
Yeah.
I'm being told to stop it as well here, so there's definitely love for Tina. And then if you look here, Baby Ice is saying Chris likes Cara Maria. Boo, Chris. So Cara Maria still found a way on this podcast, Chantele, somehow. I don't know how,
But I'm not hating on the pick. I think it's you can't go wrong with this cast list. I mean, like PJ says on the trailer, there's a finalist. Everybody's a finalist, a little bit here and there. But everybody's a finalist. Everybody deserves to be here. So yeah, I'm you can't hate on anybody.
There's so many people that I was like, oh, I could have them first. But like, I just, like I already said, like, I like rooting for some people sometimes. And so I would like to root for Tina to do well this season and have her also bring in a ton of points. So I'm just putting some energy into Tina. She's a Gemini. I like Geminis. So let's put some good vibes for Miss Tina to right that wrong, get me some points and help me win this draft.
And this is why I love the point system that we've constructed for this draft. We're not just picking who we think is going to win. This is a point-based system. So we have a little bit of flexibility with if we think this person could win or not. We want to get these. I have a person that I think could win daily challenges. Now I need somebody that could help maybe bolster those confessionals here and there. So that's why I love this system. It's not just purely like we're picking the people that are the biggest rock hard muscles that we think are just going to just win. And that's all we're playing for. We're playing for points here. And this is why I wanted to integrate a point system for these bold picks, for us to have these flailing emotions when somebody comes off the board that I just did not expect. I love it.
Yeah. And I think, you look at our first 4 picks here, all 4 of them could be, again, you probably wouldn't have thought Nehemiah is going to get the most confessions last season, and he ended up bloody running that whole season. So, all 4 of these players can definitely get us a lot of points outside of just winning dailies. This next one for me is probably the first time where I may go slightly differently. I know that this person is an explosive character on the show. When she played in All Stars 1, she didn't really have that explosiveness about her. I'm going to go Kellyanne, based purely on performance and the fact that I think that first season she drew with Jonna from memory, and that's a season that didn't have a female winner. So she could have already had a win here. She physically looks in really good shape. She's continued to train. She's good at eliminations. She's won more than what she's lost at this stage. So I don't think people are wanting to go against her in elimination. That's why she didn't see an elimination in that first season from memory that she played in an All-Stars. So I feel like depending on who she gets in fights with, there's that little bit in the beginning where they may misdirect us with Sylvia saying something, and then they show Kellyanne about, coming for her. So there may be some drama. There might be a storyline there that could get us some airtime. But more so with this pick, I'm picking someone that I think could win the show outright and that could go to a final more than anything else for me personally. And I just wouldn't be able to forgive myself if I didn't pick Kellyanne here as I think a solid pick in my first round. Chantele,
and also one of the youngest players that are going to be playing. The average age is 39, and so far Chris has been below that average age. Just saying.
Hey, I haven't picked the only person that's in their 20s yet on this cast. I was shocked when I saw that. So,
she's in my top 3. Absolutely, I feel as though Kellyanne is capable of winning. The problem with Kellyanne is that she gets into kind of like arguments with people, and she doesn't really back down, which is good in real life, but like on these games she doesn't usually budge and kind of make friends sometimes, and so she could become a target and people just start to try to get her out. She's definitely capable of going down into elimination and coming out, so I would have a lot of, I would put belief that she would do well and she would come out of eliminations, but I could also see people targeting her and just throwing her in over and over and over again. And so kind of having that type of personality is just a little bit volatile, that I'm not sure if she'll make it to the final because of the fact that she doesn't make friends that well. And so I can't really think right now if she has any good friends other than people that have played on previous seasons. But even so, she didn't really have that great of connections with anybody on the other seasons that she was on. Was she just on one? Was she on two as well? I can't even remember.
She was an All-Stars 1, but
Yes.
she didn't even get thrown down there. And I feel like there was a little bit of fear for her that season where people didn't want to go head-to-head with her. I don't know if that's going to carry over with some of the bigger personalities that are coming back this season. They might not care as much, but I feel like that's
is she friends with Wes right now? Because they also dated before, and like that could be a problem. If Wes isn't on your side, it might not be great. So, I mean, Wes is smart, so he'd probably want to bring her in because he loves numbers, but who knows though what their relationship is like. So I love Kellyanne. I think that she's a great competitor. I just worry that she might not be able to get to the end. And so that's why I didn't pick her first, but she's up there for me.
I think this was a pretty solid pick for the sole fact that if we're looking at the trailer, she's in a lot of the trailer. I do think that with Wes knows numbers, and I think that they are on good terms. So I think Wes, whether they were on good terms or not, I mean, either one of them would say like, no, I don't want to work with you. I think they would work with each other and then maybe snake each other later down the line if they were really not on good terms. But I think both know that they need friends. I think Kellyanne was the only really strong bond that she had on All-Stars 1 was Kendall. And she was sticking up for Kendall a lot when everybody else was dumping on her on like the reunion or the after shows. So I think there's power in numbers. I had Kellyanne at number 2 on my women's draft board. I think she's a very solid pick. I was nervous. You know what? I was really nervous because you were like, oh, well, maybe I'll pivot, and I'm like, am I gonna have to choose between my 1 and 2? Well, I still have my first 2 picks on the board here.
Well, you have your number 1, which is really exciting. I want to hear it.
Yeah, well, it's not gonna be any like surprise, I don't think. But do I go now?
Just go into it.
All right. Well, my number 1 pick, it's I think it's a risk, but I can't not pick this person, and it's gonna be Jonna. Jonna all day, coming in to defend her crown. Yes, she was a previous winner, but I think she's coming in. First of all, she looks fine in her cast photo. She comes back looking even stronger. And we talked about Nehemiah, how they were on different alliances last season, but we saw the Instagram pics where they're like hugging, they're hanging out. I think they could be on better terms this season. And I think after winning last season, even if it's a little controversial or a little schwanky in some of the edits and the 4th step and everything, I think the male competitors, if they're looking to run the finals, I think they're going to look at her. Yes, she doesn't have that great of an elimination record. Yes, in the trailer, she is shown to be in an elimination, but I can't deny the endurance season 1. She was my first pick last season. I'm already changing up too much with the headphones changed up from last season's picks. I'm picking first instead of second. I have to go with Jonna. Jonna all day. Jonna gonna slay.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna. I made a note on my notepad prior to this to say, do not touch Jonna this season, and I was always going to stay true to that. I didn't have her ranked very high. Not that I don't think she's capable, not that I don't think she can win back to back. I just think she is coming in with the biggest target on her back after just winning that previous season, not having been in an elimination. We saw snippets of Nehemiah and Jonna talking in All Stars 2 about how she hasn't been in an elimination, and Nehemiah saying that, or sort of, I guess there may be foreshadowing since they knew All Stars 3 already happened as they were doing the production of All Stars 2. I think there's a storyline that's going to come into All Stars 3 where she gets thrown in there maybe more than once, and I don't think she's as capable in eliminations as she is in dailies and doing a final. And again, even in this finals, there's some really strong female competitors this season that I think can take her on in a final. So I love Jonnay. If I had to pick with my heart, definitely I understand that, and I think she will get confessionals. The other thing that I was really sort of bemused by when I watched the trailer was that they had one shot of her in the trailer twice, and I was thinking, why show her jumping out of a helicopter twice? Is there a reason for that? Is it maybe because they don't have much else to show of the previous champion? And that kind of is the warning signs for me that told me don't go with Jonnay this season. Chantele, what do you think of Jonnay?
Well, I mean, I haven't watched the trailer yet because I was saving it because I was going to do a tarot card pull and watch it live tomorrow. So if I saw that though, I'd be like 100% she's out first. Like they throw her in right away and she doesn't make it through. Like I totally would have that assessment as well, Chris. So I'm happy that you pointed that out because it makes me feel better about the fact that Drew has her. I think that she's obviously very capable, as you guys both have mentioned. I just don't see her being able to win this season with this group of players. She was able to dominate strategically because there was nobody else strategically playing really on her group. She was able to really get everybody together. But I could see, like, doesn't she get unfollowed by a bunch of people? Like, isn't there some big fight that's going to be happening? Like, I'm just not sure she's going to be able to wrangle things up in the way that she has been in her past 2 seasons. I just don't know if she's going to be able to shine as well. She has too many other people that are going to be popping off, that are going to be taking control. I don't think she can hide the season. So I agree with you, Chris.
She's approaching legendary status in the All-Stars, iteration of the show. Like if she could go another season and replicate that, you'd have to look at her and say, well, she's the queen of All-Stars, because that would just be phenomenal. And very few players have been able to do that consecutively. And the ones that have been the greatest to ever play this game.
So what you're saying is, what I'm gathering from what everybody has just said, I screwed up by picking Jonna because she would have fell to me next round. And
you would have had her next. Yeah, I didn't have her this time.
Dag nabbit. But also, I'm cool with it. I wanted to make sure I had Jonna. I got my number 1 guy pick and my number 1 woman pick.
That's
but
perfect.
also, forgot to mention, we hear from the grapevines that Jonna gets a little messy this season. Doing smoochies. Maybe she gets into big fights. So I mean, I'm ready. I'm ready for those points. But yeah,
her back's going to be up against the wall, man. Like I'm telling you, people are going to gun for it.
I left somebody up on the board knowing probably what other people are going to pick. Dag nabbit. All right. I'll just
all right. So while Drew, you still have the center stage here with the guy pick. So who's going to be your second guy pick and fourth, I guess, overall in this draft?
All right. I've been going back and forth with these 2 men, and I have to go. I think it's going to be a little bit more risky pick because of how much he is seen in the trailer and doing something that he hasn't been doing a lot in his challenge career. But I'm going to go with Mark as my third choice.
Okay.
Mark, he is a solid player. When I looked up his stats from David's spreadsheet that I used for the Challenge Records podcast a couple of weeks ago or last week or something, he has like a 98% survival rating on the main seasons of the challenge.
Sure.
He does not get kicked off. He is friends to everybody. When I was trying to think of who could be like an enemy to Mark, nobody popped into my brain. He is just always the charismatic man. He is built like a house. He is a steam engine train. And it does seem like he gets thrown into maybe 1 or 2 eliminations this season, which he has only been in 2 total eliminations overall in his challenge career. But I just think that he's going to get confessionals. More than likely, he's going to make it far into the season. He just has that personality. And I just have so much hope for Mark, especially coming in 5th in the first All-Stars. I think he finally realized, like, I got to start putting in maybe some more cardio. Maybe I got to beef up and maybe then lean down a little bit. And so I just have so much hope for Mark this coming season. So I have him at number 3. He was my number 3 guy. And I just think that he's just going to get a lot of points. So I'm going to pick Mark. Very solid pick, in my opinion. Very risky.
Solid. I think that he's a great pick. He was in my number 5 position, but like I would have picked him next. You know what I mean? Pretty much, if like I would be considering him for sure for my next pick. So I think he's great. I think that, you know, when he comes on these shows, it is all about him. They brought this back because of his campaign. And so I just don't see people wanting to get rid of him right away. Like he's friends with all these people. People like playing with him. They want him around. And so he doesn't really have any enemies. He's very capable and strong. So be able to wield some power. And if he's working with, say, Wes, like I could see them being a bit of a powerhouse. Like who knows who he's going to gravitate towards, but I don't see anybody targeting him. So I think he's going to get points in dailies. He's going to get points in confessionals. I definitely think that he's a super solid pick. So jealous.
Yeah, definitely the live chat here is in furious agreement with you with this one, Drew.
Thank you.
I think you nearly lost your, card or the wisdom almost. Yeah, I guess your place within the challenge, commentary, space, because so many people were saying, what did you do? Defend yourself on the previous pick. But you came back with a very solid pick. And not that previous pick is too crazy. It's just based on the history for her coming into the season. But I think Mark is a really good pick. I think he'll go deep this season. He always does. I don't know if he'll win the show. That's the only thing that I could probably say out there. There's some really strong competitors that probably will do better in endurance if it does come to that at the end. But I don't hate this pick. I wouldn't have picked him next personally, so I was slightly relieved.
Well, yeah,
that
because he's from season 2.
Yeah, exactly. So, but you should have played that 40 chess, Drew. You should have been like, "There's no way Chris is," but I guess you were more worried about Chantele out of the two of us in regards to who potentially could have picked Mark.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm gonna go. I guess this one here. There's 2 people that I could go with at this spot, but I'm gonna go with the tried and tested and make a, believe it or not, a boring pick, I guess, because I normally like to do these crazy picks at number 1. I could have easily picked this person as number 1 this season, and I picked them as number 1 for my guys last season. I'm going to take Darrell off the board.
Okay.
Not going to keep him there any longer. I am worried for Darrell because I do think, even though he has not won any of the All-Star seasons, and that aura is starting to fade away a little bit about Darrell winning finals because he's now twice not been able to do that. I do think that there's going to be people coming in this season with a chip on their shoulders because Darrell has made back-to-back finals. So even though he hasn't won it, the fact that he's won 4 challenges before, the fact that he's been in the last 2 finals, and that he's always seemed to be in a great and strong alliance that have run the house, I think there's going to be some animosity from others within the game, like in Nehemiah last season saying some players are always safe, they never really feel the heat. And I do think he was pointing to Darrell as well when he said that. So I'm a little bit worried for that. But I mean, you can't go against past experience, championship wins, a proven contender when it comes to being in the arena and having to fight for their life in eliminations. And Darrell was my biggest point getter for last season. I know, Drew, you've got the points in front of you. I don't know if you remember how much he got last season, but, if I did not have Darrell last season, I would have been in an even worse space than what I was going into that finale. So I think he was my only person in that finale, actually. But, Darrell, I'm loyal to the end for this guy. We ride together, we die together, Darrell. So he's my number 1 pick, or number 2 pick, I guess, this season. But I kind of feel like I stole him here in this spot, to be honest. Chantele, how do you feel about this pick?
Yeah, he was in my number 3 position, but like he's definitely, if I had him, depending on obviously how things configured, he would be my next person to pick. Absolutely. So I was like, why don't you go with that other pick, please? like that's, I'm trying to like voodoo, like stare you down, like please, because I did want to have Darrell on my team.
Look into my eyes, Chris.
I literally am a certified hypnotherapist, but I don't use a watch or a clock like that. But I really wanted to have Darrell on my team, but some people, I was reading on some it was on the Facebook group about the challenge, and they're saying like maybe he should hang up the challenge gloves or whatever, because like since he's come back he hasn't been able to perform as well. And I was kind of thinking about that. I'm like, well, I love Darrell. I think that he always is capable, but he hasn't proven himself. And so I'm wondering if he's lost the mojo, or if people have more mojo than he does. So I'm not as confident as I used to be in Darrell. I think he's solid. Absolutely. I think that he's potentially going to get tons of points. I think he's capable of winning dailies. 100%. But I don't know if he's got the winning juju like he used to. So I love him. Go ahead.
I just want to say on that, Chantele, I just want to say, like, no one saw Yes coming in season 1. If Yes was not there, Darrell would have won that. He was the second outright, placed player in that first season. So I do think he still has it in him, but he's got to be very smart about who he goes to the end with. Like, if there is a Jordan next to him, or even, I'm not too sure about Wes. I feel like he could match Wes in endurance, but there's certain players where they're just freaks when it comes to that type of endurance challenge and running up mountains.
And I also don't think that Wes is going to let him get there. Like, he knows the history of Darrell. He knows how capable he actually is. And so I just don't know if people are going to allow him to get near a final with this particular group of people. So I would have taken him. So I'm not just like saying that it's a bad choice at all, but just like pointing out why he potentially could not be the best is for those reasons. So still jealous.
Yeah. So when it came down to it, I was in between like Mark or Darrell. I feel like they're very similar players. I think that Mark taking last season off and having his track record of just not ever going into eliminations, always making it far, made me want to go the safer route with Mark, as he's always the friend, the brother, after the Jonna fiasco of me picking Jonna. I really needed a bounce back pick. So I wanted to go with Mark just for the sole fact that Darrell did go to second finals. You can never count out Darrell, but you never know, because like I was talking about with the Real World Austin Alliance, Wes and Darrell have a history with each other. Now, they did play together on Double Agents where it didn't seem like they were butting heads or anything was going on, but Wes didn't stay on that season very long. So we don't know if that would have turned into something, if Wes would have wanted to turn everything on Darrell, but they do have a history with each other where if Wes has the numbers, he's going to try to put everything on getting Darrell out, I think. So we don't know where their relationship stands at the moment. We also said the same thing last season with Brad and Darrell because of the ruins, which I'm also alluding to the ruins with Wes and Darrell's thing. But Brad and Darrell were working with each other. They were very close last season. So you never know what could be their case. Maybe Darrell is working with Wes, and then they're going to try to snake each other when they get closer to the end. But you can never count out Darrell. Looking at his points last season, he got 80 total points. He made it to the finals. He was so close to winning that. And we did see him go into his first elimination in All-Stars, which was right before the finals. And luckily, him and Janelle were able to pull it out. So, yeah, it's a very solid pick. And I was almost nervous you were going to pick Derrick at that point. I was like, oh my goodness, is he going to do it now? Is he doing it now? But you picked Darrell, so I think Darrell is very solid.
That he'd pick
I'll leave my comments. I'll leave my comments on Derrick. I'll leave my comments on Derrick for a later stage, So, yeah. I mean, a little bit off script here, I guess. But I mean, when you've got players like Jordan and Darrell on your team, I mean, that's a pretty stacked team. You can't complain. I was never gonna choose Derrick above Darrell. Let's be honest. Don't go and watch my All Stars 1 fantasy draft, please.
Okay, now we're getting into muddy waters here for me, because like, I don't. Wait, what, Drew?
No, we're heading into muddy waters. That's never a good sign.
I don't know what to do right now. I mean, I could make an argument.
Are you going to pick Derrick? Is that why you're so nervous?
Sorry, no. But like, it's pretty close. So I don't know how well this person is going to do, because as we saw last season, he's not the smartest, but with the right partner, he's definitely is very capable of doing well. So I'm going to hope that this person will do decently well again this season, maybe mend some fences with some people that he screwed over a little bit last season, as in Nehemiah, and maybe do well. Who are you hovering over? Is it Brad? I can't tell. It's too small. Yeah. Brad, give me Brad. He has the crazy eyes and the beard, and he's still good at challenges in general. I don't know if I see him winning because I think there's a lot of players that are just a lot better than him in general, but he could stick around a little bit longer than some people. He does have connections with kind of both sides where I kind of see where the line is going to be. And so depending on what side he decides to go on, I think he has a lot of options. And so just depending on how well he actually does in these challenges and who he aligns with, I think he has a really good chance of at least getting far. So Brad's not the biggest fan of Brad, but I'm hoping that he'll get me some points and do decently well in some of these dailies.
You've sold out, Chantele. I never ever thought I would see you choose Brad. You know, you've sold out. You've given your soul away for points this season. That's how competitive you are, you know, on this draft pick. But I mean, I did think about Brad for a second as well, and potentially putting him in there because I do think he is a solid pick. Obviously, when it comes to brain fart moments like he had last season when he ripped open the boxes to get disqualified and automatically get thrown into an elimination before the finale, that type of stuff could still happen with Brad. Yeah. But I do think people, we talk about auras and who don't you want to see in like an elimination, especially if it's physical out there and you don't know if it's going to be physical. I think Brad has got a little bit of that aura around him where people don't necessarily want to go against this guy physically. And that beard, I mean, Drew, you love that beard as well. You were all over Brad last season. I think he was your number one guy pick potentially even, or he was very high up in your draft picks. But what do you think of this pick here? I think Brad, he's got a lot of friends here. He's probably someone that could move a little bit better than Darrell if he does get caught on the wrong side of the numbers, with him being a bit more neutral. What do you think of Brad? Do you think he's going to go deep again?
Oh, man. I am just losing out on my last year's picks that I was feeling good about. Yeah, he was my first guy pick. I was like, no, I picked Nehemiah first. Nehemiah was my second guy pick, fourth overall pick for myself.
Am I taking Drew's draft?
You are. You can't take Jonna away from me because I already picked her. But Brad, I had high. I almost... just for the joke of it, I almost wanted to just do the beards and have Wes and then Brad as my second pick. But I went with Mark to get the solid because I know he can go farther, I think, than Brad overall. But Brad also, I'm not going to lie, when taking a look at his survival record, he's in the high 80s. I mean, taking a look at his back catalog of challenge seasons after Battle of the Sexes 2, I mean, he stays there for a long time. I mean, he is able to make it deep into seasons. Yeah, he's featured a good amount in the trailer. He gets mud in his beard, which is like makes me cringe every time I watch that part of the trailer. But yeah, I think it's solid. I was, again, just like Nehemiah, I was hoping that he would fall to me, but again, Chantele is sniping me around early. She's always sniping me, and she has the third pick. How is this happening?
Well, I'm not doing it with the women, and I don't think I will this time around either. Well, because with the women, like I don't know what is going to be working. I don't know if people are just going to be like comp beasts and they're going to get me a lot of points because they're going to be winning dailies, or if it's really I just need to go with the women being the mouthpieces and like getting me those confessional points and those fight points. So I'm really not sure here with my pick that I'm going to do. Man, this is actually very, very hard. Do I just go team loudmouth? Do I do it? You guys are probably like, yes, do team
Drew's
loudmouth.
got no poker face. Drew, get your poker face.
I'm terrible.
You're going to kill it for both of us here, Drew.
I'm terrible.
Oh, man. I just going to do it. Chat, don't come for me, but I want Jemmye. Team Loudmouth. It is Jemmye and Tina and maybe Veronica are going to be the mouthpieces. One thing with Jemmye is she does usually make it far. People don't usually come for her. She's always playing the politics of the house. She wants to make good TV. I think that she is potentially going to at least make it to the final or make it deep into the season. And with her pop-off rate, like she is going to be getting into fights with at least one person. There's no way that she's going to go get through the season without a fight. So I don't really count her as someone that's going to get me a lot of points through, winning dailies or whatnot. But I do think that in all the other aspects, she's going to get me points. So she's usually like a narrator sometimes of the season, which she could be this time around as well. Especially with having people in like her girlfriends on. So I just want her to be my loudmouth point getter, her and Tina. Get me the points. Get me the fight points.
Yeah, I am shook to my core by this pick because it was going to be the next one for me as well. It's like I think it's a brilliant pick for the sheer fact that she carried season 1 in confessionals. I mean, Jemmye became more of a vocal point in season 2, but season 1 was really the Jemmye show for quite a while, and obviously she's got that connection with Nehemiah. I think strategically she is very good. She's proven that physically she's gotten better, and even if you look at her photos this season, I can see an improvement from season 1 to now physically, where she looks even leaner and even more in shape. So she has taken this thing seriously, I think, since season 1, and is trained to come back and be competitive. So not only will she be good confessional wise, I think she will also stand on firm ground when it comes to the physical side of things. I don't know how she's going to do if she gets into eliminations early on, so there is an element of risk there, but I don't hate this pick. I agree. We're not just picking people who we think will outright win the season. We're also picking people who we think will make for entertaining TV or will be featured on the show. And I think that based on those criteria, I can't fault you on Jemmye. I think it's a good pick. And I think Drew was devastated as well. He had no poker face. I felt like, Drew, just keep a neutral face, because you're going to tell her she's thinking in the right direction. But no, you couldn't hold it in. You really had a big reaction to this.
So I had a big reaction before she said the name. And then when she said Jemmye, I kind of let out a sigh of relief a little bit, because that is not who I was thinking of. But I think it's a really solid choice for all the reasons you said. She makes it far into the season. All-Star season 1. Jemmye was corralling people. She was making challenge families. Mark is her dad. Beth was her mom. And she was like rubbing elbows with everybody. She was powwowing around with everybody. And I think it just shows how good of a social game she has when she can be free to do whatever she wants. And so to me, I think it's a solid pick. You're definitely going to get confessionals. You're definitely going to get some golden commentary.
She might even make out with people. Who knows?
That is true.
Anywhere with her.
That is very true. I did have Jemmye around the 9 or 10 out of 12 range. But I think it was a solid pick. I think I'm pretty solid on confessionals with Wes and Mark. So I was a little bit nervous. And then I'm living on a prayer with Jonna, apparently, according to everybody else. Hopefully she gets more confessionals this season and shows some kissing on camera. But yeah, I think that was a really solid pick I think you're cleaning up on confessionals. I mean, Tina and Jemmye combo is just going to be, you could get probably 10 points just on confessionals for both of them. So yeah, good pick.
All right, so game plan out of the window here for this next move.
Oh my gosh, I hate that. I hate hearing that right before my pick.
I have to rethink my strategy now, and I'm going to pick someone that I did not expect to pick this early, because I don't know this person all that well, but I'm going to draft in some help here from the live audience. I've seen some comments. Baby Ice, I hope you don't do me wrong on this one. I'm listening to you, Baby Ice, and I'm going to be picking Nia for my next pick here. Nia for me,
just so you know.
or Nia, sorry, pronunciation there. Nia, I feel like physically looks very in shape coming into this season. She's a big personality from the seasons that she did play in that I saw free agents.
She's under 35.
X's. She's under 35, so she makes that criteria for people that I can crush on when they're on the season. She's a good-looking girl. I do know she's got some drama that may make it onto the show with Jordan, so hopefully there's a little bit of confessionals around that. It's a bit of a wild pick here, but Baby Ice, I saw you say go Kailah or Nia.
I wish you went Kailah. Sorry.
Yeah, I didn't want to go Kailah, so I'm drafting you in here. You and me, baby ice, we're in this one together here for the rest of the season. Chantele, what do you think of this one here? I know I've mixed it up a little bit, gone for a little bit of an unknown person here. She's had 2 daily wins, 3 wins in eliminations, I believe, and 1 loss in the past. So definitely someone that can hold their own if she does get thrown into an elimination.
She was my number 4 pick. So if she, like, in coming back, she would have been the next person that I was going to be taking. I'm not sure what the real tea is, but her and Jordan have made up, I believe, and potentially maybe dating. I don't know. So I don't know if they rekindled something on the show or after the show or whatnot. So there could be drama, either a positive way or a negative way between the two of them. She's kind of coming back to prove something. I believe her last season, she was kicked off. So like she was just extracted right before the final because of an altercation with Jordan. And so I don't think she has been on the challenge since then. She might have even been banned. And so I think that she has something to prove, definitely, like, for growth wise, to show that, like, she's learned something in the last 10 years or so. She's always been pretty good physically. And I think that with a little bit of age, coming here to make some money, I think that she can definitely do really well. So I had her up pretty high because I had some high hopes for Nia being a point getter and then as well doing well physically. So she's still a good pick. I wish she went with Kellyanne. I'm not Kellyanne, with Kailah. Kailah.
So Nia was like my 3rd or 4th pick. Like, they were fluctuating in the 3rd or 4th pick for me. I think it's a great pick. She is athletic. In X's 2, her and Leroy were just destroying teams left and right, and she would have easily destroyed Nani in the Battle of the X's 2 or X Battle elimination right before the finals. Her and Leroy would have made it to the finals together. I heard somewhere that she wasn't banned, that they even asked her to be on the next season, Bloodlines, to be on there with her sister, and she declined. And so I guess they never called her back, or she never decided to pick up the phone until All-Stars. So to me, I think it's a great pick. I think Nia could get you confessional points, but I also think that her physicality is going to be a huge factor. She is a youngin. She is a younger competitor on this season, and she has the height. I mean, when in one of the daily challenges, they're standing in a line and it's just her with 5 other women and she towers over them. I just think that she is going to be a force to be reckoned with on the season, not only because of her physicality, her age, and then her height. So I think it's a really, really strong pick. But yeah, I had her around the 3 or 4 pick.
Baby ice. If we win with sorry, how we pronounce this? Nia or Nia? Nia. If we win with Nia, it's you and me, baby. I'm telling you, you and me, you help me out here, because I was not going to go down that direction. But with losing Jemmye, I thought, you guys know me, put it all on black and see where it's going to go. Go to the casino, spin the roulette and see where it gets you at the end of the day. So I'm very happy now that I know that Drew probably had her very high as well. Drew, it's coming back to you. So who would be your next pick now that
this is probably his
things have changed?
Pick, I guess.
Unpredictably unpredictable, Drew. It's something you need to expect. Expect the unexpected.
Yeah, you're throwing me off. I almost think you don't come in with a game plan, so you can just throw us off by saying you're throwing your game plan out the window. I'm gonna go with the other person suggested by Baby Ice, and I'm gonna go with Kailah. 1, for the age. 2, she's in a very she's just a very strong competitor. She's good in eliminations. She's played on the more recent seasons. Her more recent seasons, she hasn't done well, or she hasn't shown up well, with season 35 losing to Casey. But I mean, who wouldn't lose to Casey? But she had her mind thrown off because of the bear situation and ruining her relationship. And then season 32, she got kicked off for fighting with Melissa. I don't think that's going to happen this time. She is younger. I think she is going to be spry. She can get into fights with people. We've seen her pop off on people. And I think she could have some confessionals. I have been watching I've been gathering information and watching the past couple of seasons, the past later seasons. And I think she could do something. I think I need some confessionals And I think I like the amount I'm seeing her from the trailer. So I'm going to go with Kailah to pad the rest of my team. So that's who I'm going to go with.
Okay, so Kailah definitely, I was more in favor of Kailah like before she kind of got into like the Holy Trinity and all that stuff. Like when she was in her original seasons, I was a bigger fan of hers. But I guess I haven't enjoyed her kind of arc within the regular challenge seasons. I know that she's coming onto this show because she's like, she doesn't like the cast of the main season and she wants to kind of try something new. But I just personally think she's too young. She hasn't had as much experience. For me to be really excited to see her. She wasn't somebody that I was like, oh, yay, she's coming on to this. Like, I can't wait to see how she does. So that's kind of one of the reasons why I just like roll my eyes a little bit. Like, I don't need to see Kailah yet. She hasn't, like, I'm not excited for her. So, I mean, she's definitely strong. She's definitely very capable. She's fit. She has endurance. She's not afraid to go down, even though she doesn't usually do well when she goes down into elimination. So yeah, she's an okay pick. I had her at 7. So not too far like from where you picked her. So
I feel like Chantele, me and you, funny enough, like we don't agree often. Well, actually, we do agree on the big things. I feel like the small things we nitpick on, but we do agree on this one. I'm not team Kailah for some other reason. I just don't feel like, man, I want to get behind her this season to do really well here. Yeah, I do think she's a bit of a fish out of water, 29. She's the only one not to be in her 30s at least, so definitely would have, I guess, messed with the averages for the contestants coming up on this season and help with pulling it down a little bit on that age bracket. But the thing for her is I've never really, she's always had promise to do well, and she was like earmarked to be this next phase of, the challenge and one of the strong new females that came in, but she's always fallen flat for me. Only one final in 5 seasons. Does okay in eliminations, funny enough. 4 wins, 2 losses, so I guess she does win some eliminations. I just don't know where to place her, and in the past she has come in with losing a bit of focus, like Drew said, especially that season with Bear. Bear. Yeah, I found that very strange that she would throw away something solid at home to go out there and hook up with a guy that she knew was a big player and never, there was so much like she should have known better. You can't tell me she didn't know who Bear was as a person going into that season. There was so much about him online and within the community of the challenge of some of the dirty stuff that he did with women and how he treated them. I just don't know. Like, I just don't feel good about it. But if I take my bias out of this, if I'm like, okay, let's put myself in a neutral position here. Physically, she is young, like Drew said. She may be able to bounce back pretty well in a season that is shorter, where there's less time for the body to recuperate. She looks like she's got something to prove coming here this season. I don't think she's happy with how things have gone for her on the challenge so far as of yet, and her legacy within the challenge. She's the one that when they said, this is the best crew we've ever put together, everybody's made finals. She's barely made finals. Like, she's barely at that level. But I could see this being a wildcard pick for you here, Drew. It's, we all have to make wildcard picks. We're midway into this thing right now, and I can't completely hate it. I just made a big change in direction of what I was going to do. So, who am I to judge you with this pick at this spot?
Yeah, and really it's the recency. It's she's competed recently. She has a positive elimination record. I kind of can see who she's working with and see how it could go for her. So
does she have beef with Jemmye? I can't remember.
Maybe.
Probably.
Sure.
She's also married now, so she was in a committed relationship when she did this season, so she might not be distracted, which is a good thing for her.
I mean, I think the last time that they played together, I don't know, maybe it was, I know Dirty 30 was when Jemmye decided to pit Jonna versus Kailah, and that was a huge thing between them. So, I mean, that
I
could
just remember she had
factor.
like this messy relationship at one stage with who's the guy
Corey?
that's Corey. Like that
Corey,
was
she
one of
she was in the shower.
It was so messy. I just remembered it was so messy, and I was like, oh my goodness, I could never be with her. Like, she just seems like that girl you need to stay away from because she was such a train wreck back then.
Was that her first season or second?
I feel like it was
first.
Invasion of the Champions or something like that, right?
Yeah, it was Invasion.
First,
yeah. Crazy. Okay, well, it just came back to me now. Now I remember why I don't really sort of fully get behind it. But I mean, people change. So let's see how she does this season. And hopefully she's a bit more mature now, getting close to 30s. She's almost an adult. Drew, go in with your next pick here for the guys. And like a few people have said here in the live chat, this is where we get to the messy part now. We are starting to go to the bottom of the barrel in a very stacked season. So there may still be some hidden gems, some blue stock available for you to pick up here.
This is tough. This is the point where it's like everybody is getting grouped up in the little tiers. Like you put people into tiers and like, I need to pick this person. I think this person's going to go. If you would have told me that I would have been picking this person in this draft, I would have laughed. I didn't think that it would come to this. I thought I would have gotten more people that I actually had above this person. And really looking at the rest of the group, I don't know. I'm going against what some of the stats would say to go with what maybe I saw in some of the stuff in the trailers and the potential and rewriting history from the previous season. I don't know. This is tough for me. I'm just going to pull the Band-Aid off. I'm going to go with Derrick. I'm picking Derrick. Hopefully he left that Arizona tee shirt and pants at home and decided
and
to come
the chip on his shoulder, maybe,
and focus on playing and actually doing something this season. Maybe please get past episode 4, Derrick, or episode 3. I'll just get past episode 3 and we'll be good. But I'm just gonna pick Derrick. Solid player. I mean, I think he could be a steal at this point. Yeah. He is now being picked at the top of the 3rd for the men, 6th place overall. So I'm gonna go with Derrick.
Derrick's got such an interesting history with the draft picks that we've done on the show, because I remember season 1, he was a first guy pick for, I think, myself, but it's because I lost Darrell to you, Chantele, actually, because I was going to go Darrell, I believe. And then in the second season, he fell to the 2nd tier, and now in the 3rd season, he's fallen to the 3rd tier. So if there's an All-Stars 4 and Derrick does not perform well here, he's going to be in the 4th or bottom tier from here onwards. He's just sliding to the wrong side of the draft picks here. But listen, we've had people very low in our draft picks win the season because we honestly don't know what is going to happen. This is not fun for us as podcasters to know the results. We want to go into this blindly to see what's going to happen this season. So Derrick, I lost a lot of my, I guess, respect in the way of him as a game player last season, because he played it so badly strategically, and he was thinking he's this great strategic mastermind, and he wanted to have that edit around him and make big moves, and he made unnecessary moves, one too early, showed his cards, put Nehemiah in there, and it blew up his game. So I'm very worried for Derrick here this season. And also in the trailer, I did spot Derrick, I believe, and this may be a bit spoiler territory, but it's only what we've seen on the trailer. I think he's down in elimination at some point. So I'm a little bit worried for him, even though he can hold his own in eliminations. I believe I know who he's going against, and that might be too much spoilers based on what I saw in that trailer. And that person is also a beast, and I think could take them out. So, I'm worried for Derrick.
And that's the thing, is when I'm looking at the rest of the players that are out here, I'm looking at Derrick's potential at maybe trying to do better than last season. So learning from past mistakes, but also he showed that he could get a lot of confessionals, even in the short amount of time he was there. He got a lot of confessionals. So he's turning from that player of I'm just going to perform and that's all. I'm going to put my head down. I'm going to play both sides of the fence. He picked a side and it burned him. But he had a lot more personality last season than he has in his past challenge seasons. And also, when taking a look at some elimination records, I think that if any of the other players that are still up here were to go into elimination, I would put my money on Derrick making it out than, say, some of the other players that may have either been in eliminations or even haven't seen an elimination. And that's just too much of a wild card, in my opinion. And I think Derrick has a lot more upside with the personality they showed last season. So that's why I Derrick at this point. But I honestly did not think that Derrick was going to get to this point. We weren't going to get to this point. I was thinking,
I knew coming into this, everybody was going to think good old Chris is going to pick Derrick at number 1 or 2.
Please,
and
please,
I wasn't going to make it easy. I was not going to make it easy on you guys. So no, I was happy. I'm like, I had to, what we call trigger control. I had to have trigger control, and I couldn't pull the trigger on Derrick too early here because I knew that you guys were going to come in like that, thinking, "Oh no, he's gonna get taken off the board and an easy spot early on." But yeah, I mean, listen, I like Derrick still as a character within the show, and I think he, having him there is going to make this season greater. Having him part of a cast. But I mean, we are getting into the latter end, I guess, of the picks now. Chantele, did you have any last thoughts on Derrick before I make my next guy pick?
I mean, I'm happy that I'm not forced to pick him. We'll just say that. Because it's like he's at the spot where it's like, yeah, I'm probably going to be picking Derrick, but like I was like, phew.
And that's the thing. We're also picking against each other, and I knew like Chris's pick is next, and there's no way Derrick is gonna make it.
Derrick was gone this round for sure.
Yeah, so
you're right. Reason. You're right. Yeah. I mean, very likely if you pick the person that I'm going to pick next, I would have gone for Derrick, but I'm going to go with someone that I'm going to stay to the theme here of picking people who have actually been champions before. And I think it's going to hurt me because I'm probably going to get knocked out early with this person because Wes is no fool. And if he does run this season, he's not running against this person in the finale. But even their personality is bland, so I could get nothing from this. I could get like nothing from picking this person. So again, it's like a all or nothing pick here, but I'm going to go with Yes. I can't let him go any further down the board. I mean, we disrespected Yes in our first season, and I believe he was Chantele or our other podcast. It was the last guy pick for that season, and I don't feel like we should be putting that disrespect on Yes again. I think he proved himself in All Stars 1. He does have the ability to go into the shadows and let other people make decisions and then sort of ride coattails to the end, which I thought he did reasonably well. He didn't get too involved in the politics in that first season. So I think, therefore, when I look at him and MJ, who won last season, I think MJ is going to be a bigger target than Yes from the beginning, and he's going to be more visible. This could either work really well for him, or he could have no allegiances where people just say, we don't want that person because he dominated that finale. We don't want him at the end due to his endurance. But again, we're getting to that point now. Like, if I'm not picking him, even if I picked someone else here, I think he probably would have gone pretty soon. So, Drew, what do you think about Yes?
Solid pick. Yes is a wild card just for the sole fact that we don't know what to expect from him. I mean, he's not featured a ton in the trailer, but he wasn't featured a ton in the season that he did win. He's going to be a solid player. I don't think there's a place for him to hide, though. I think everybody knows where Yes is coming from, and they know what he is capable of. So he hasn't been in an elimination yet in his challenge career. So my thing is, I think this is going to be the season where he's going to see his first elimination, whether it's Wes deciding to take a shot at him, Darrell deciding to take a shot at him. He may not have direct enemies, but as the cast is dwindling down, it's going to be hard for him, the season 1 winner, to hide anywhere. And I think he's going to get called out. So I do think that he is going to see elimination, but he could win the elimination. You never know. I'm just throwing it out there. It is a wild card, but I think it's a very solid pick. Hopefully we do see more of him in the confessionals, because that first season, we did not see him at all until like the back half of the season when everything was like clearing out. And then he was starting to like come out of the woodwork and being like, okay, now I can show everybody that I am a force to be reckoned with, kind of thing. So yeah, hopefully we see more of him, but I think it's a solid pick.
Yeah, he was my next guy pick. So I had him before Derrick. So he would definitely be who I'd be taking next off the board. The issue I have, though, with Yes in his game is that does he have anybody that's protecting him? Does he have anybody that's willing to not throw him down? I feel as though there's so many clumps of people that will be strategically working together that you still need to have people that you can take a shot at that's not necessarily directly at the opposition. So I think that because he's going to be kind of in the middle and not have like any allegiance to one side or the other, that he might become a casualty of like an easy play, or we can throw him in and not get any blowback. So I'm worried that because he doesn't really have any sort of support really that I can think of, that he might just become a casualty of people not wanting to make a big move too soon. So
maybe
it's a risky,
maybe Veronica, his old Road Rules, but I mean Veronica's power and group can only go so far. Like this is also her first season. This is technically kind of Tina's first season too. I mean, she was on last season, but she didn't last too long. And then you got Jemmye, who went far. So I do think that he could have their support.
That's good. That's good. I forgot about that.
You never know. You never know if the guys all are like, we're going to call him down anyways. Like, I just want to see what this guy is made of kind of thing. And yeah, we'll just have to see. I think
I feel good. I feel good picking him, knowing Chantele was going to pick him next. Like, at least I know I've stolen one here because it was between Yes and one other person, which I will comment on if that person gets picked next. But Chantele, who are you going to go for your next guy pick?
Well, I've been staying true to my order.
I haven't looked at my order since the beginning, to be honest.
Oh, see, you're sneaky.
I'm staring at my order.
Okay, what am I gonna do here? Oh my gosh.
You know what to do.
No, I don't know what to do. This is really hard. Like,
if you don't choose right, Drew's gonna judge you for it forever.
I will not. This is tough.
Okay, I'm choosing this person because I think that they have potential, but the last season, I don't think that they realized how hard people were playing. I think that he is, a player that wants to do well and knows that he can do well. So I think he's going to come back even more prepared to do better this season. So I know that the chat's going to be very mad at me for not taking somebody, but I think that I have to go with the potential of Tyler. Tyler is a champion. I had higher hopes for him last season. He kind of got thrown in. The game was bigger than he really thought that it was. I think he kind of was expecting it to be a little bit more summer campy, but it actually was a little bit more real than he was prepared for. But I think if he's coming back, I think he's coming back to do better than he did last time. And so he is capable of winning. I think that he is capable of making friends and relationships, and potentially he could still be in that, like, not on a particular side. He can still be in that middle ground, which is not great because people might want to throw him in. But I do feel that he is capable of getting to the end and winning. So I'm hoping that he has a better showing this season. He's coming back, so hopefully it's with a vengeance. So Tyler.
Who does he have allegiance-wise here coming into the season? Does he have people that will want to work with him?
Maybe just like old school wise, just being in the same era as like the Wes's, and he was playing in those seasons, so just might be from his era.
I hear you on Tyler coming back wanting to prove himself. The fear that I have, and you guys correct me on this if I'm wrong, the All-Stars 2 and All-Stars 3 season were filmed almost back to back. There wasn't much of a break between these two seasons, very minimal. So he had like little time to go back, watch his edit, watch how he performed, go back in there and amend his game, or even physically get in much better shape than what he was in that season. I don't think physically he's changed all that much from All-Stars 2, and I think he's going to get caught out physically again. I think that Tyler, if he comes back for like an All-Stars 4 or 5, I don't doubt his heart, and I don't doubt his ability to do extremely well. I just don't know turnaround wise if he's had enough time to prepare and come back in a better place for this season. I think that's why I'm higher on someone, not that she wasn't in shape the first time, but like a Kellyanne or a Jemmye, or someone that took a break for a season and now are coming back and had some downtime to work on things. I'm a little bit worried for Tyler in that sense. But again, I mean, he is a previous champion. He's won eliminations against the best of the best. He there's nothing but respect for what Tyler is capable of. I'm just a little bit worried that the turnaround time is too quick for him to come back and really impact this season in a way where he does go to the end of the game and win this thing. I don't know, Drew, how you feel about Tyler, and any comments that you may want to add.
I think Tyler is a wild card, in my opinion. I had him as a big question mark on how he could come into the season and view the season. Last season, I came in with a strong, bold prediction that Nehemiah was going to come in fiery. He was going to come in strong. He was going to come in a different person. And luckily, I was correct in that. This season, I'm not getting that feeling from Tyler, but Tyler did have some good social game last season. Everybody liked him. The thing is his likability different to Mark's? And is people willing to call him out and throw him into elimination, not once, not twice, but maybe 3 times if, say, they just want to take somebody on? And after seeing what Latyrian did to him in elimination, now not everybody is going to be Latyrian intense in like a pole wrestle. But I kind of worry. I kind of worry for Tyler. So I had him lower tier on my picks, but
yeah, he was number 9 for me.
Yeah, it's. I mean, we're at that point where we're all
nitpicking. Yeah, we're all nitpicking at this point. I will say this is not the next person that I would have picked, so I'm going to reserve my comments for why I've chose yes until that pick gets made. But I'm very sure Drew's going to pick that person now next. In any case, like I think he's going to get a steal here. But you're going to go for the next female pick, Chantele. So you continue to remain on the hot seat here. How does it feel to go third for a chance, Chantele? Because I feel like you've always gone first. Yeah, I don't know if I like second. I'll just be honest.
I like
you guys.
second. I like actually. Do you know what? I like all of the spots. Like there's definitely strategy in each and every position, and so I kind of like every position. So
I like the fact that all of us are in new territory. Drew's never gone first in these picks. I've never gone second. And Chantel's never gone third. So because of that, we all have had to adapt here today.
The hardest thing to adapt is just what Chantele was saying, where she was like, "Oh crap, I'm next. Like I have another pick. Like that's me on my way." I'm like getting heated about picking Jonna, and then I was like sitting there, I'm like, I'm gonna stew for this until it comes back around. Normally when I'm second, I know, okay, I got the next pick and it's a guy, next pick and it's a woman. But now it's like I gotta go right after myself, so I can't stew in my picks. I gotta get right back into the mindset, and it's difficult. I think I'm gonna just stay second next. After I win this season, I'll just keep on going second. I'll just keep putting myself second. So
I was going to say, look at us.
Oh, whatever. Sorry. I'm not putting you second if when I win this draft. Sorry, Chris, what?
I was gonna say, look at us, professional podcasters, just giving you time, buying you time, Chantele, so you can think about your next pick and you're still not ready here.
Well, I got involved. Do I keep up with my team loudmouth?
Oh no.
No, I don't know if I'm gonna do that.
Are you gonna pick the rest of the Mean Girls here? OG Mean Girls?
I kind of want to. Should I just be messy and just see what happens?
Messy, go for it.
Like, I know neither of you would ever even consider this person, but she's a Sagittarius. I like fiery people. She's capable of winning. She's had 3 wins. She's still been on a lot of seasons. We haven't seen her in a while. When she was back on the main season, she didn't have that great of a showing. I'm hoping, though, that her social game is going to get her far in this particular season. The fact that she has some friends on this season, I think, is going to have her insulated a little bit more. She's ready to clap back, get into a fight. She's ready to make out with you. Like, she's ready to get me some points. So if she's coming back on my team to get me some damn loudmouth, mean girl draft points. Give me Veronica. Team Messi.
Hey, if the shoe fits, wear it, Chantele, go all in. And I will say with Veronica, she was one of the few people that I remember watching when she played in Final Reckoning, because that was the first season that I saw, and she was with CT, and all I heard was about how much of a legend she was, and CT was getting annoyed because she couldn't keep up with him, and like it wasn't the greatest showing for her. I think that may have been the last time that she was actually on the main show, from memory, but yeah, like I don't have much, obviously not being an old school fan that watched it right from the start and starting from Fresh Meats 2 onwards and having a bit better of an understanding for players from then. I didn't have much to add, and you're right, I probably wouldn't have picked her next just because I don't know what I don't know, and she could be everything that you say she is, and she does have connections here this season, so I'm interested to see how she does. And confessional wise, if she can live up to that. She was a bit more bland, I felt like, in that season as well, like confessional wise. But I feel like she just felt she was letting also she was feeling like she was letting CT down the whole time while she was out there, and she was just feeling so guilty about it that made for less fun TV, I guess, at the end of the day. Drew, Veronica, thoughts?
I'm kind of disappointed. I was thinking about I was hoping to have Veronica at she wasn't going to probably be my next pick, but I was hoping to get her at some point down the line. I love Queen Bee. I think she is a good player. I'm happy to see her on All Stars 3, and I hope she can go far. I think she is a good player. I hope she can use her political and social ties to get far into the game, because she was never that physical player. I mean, she was able to stay out of eliminations for a majority of her season. She was able to command the room. And I don't know how much she can command the room, but she does have that reputation in the challenge. She has 3 wins. She's up there with Evelyn as the only other woman to have 3 wins. So I'm happy to see her here on the season with Tina, with, I guess, Jemmye. Her and Jemmye are very close, and yes. So yeah, I'm a little sad that I won't have Queen V on my own team.
And also Queen V, she was on the same Road Rules season as Ayanna, and Ayanna was iconic. So let's see if she brings some of that semester at sea iconic energy, please.
I'm really worried here in this next pick, because like there's a couple of people that could go here. Obviously, we are getting to the pointy end, but I feel like there is a little bit of probably disrespect when you get this low and not picking certain players higher that could have probably been picked a little bit higher than what this draft and how this draft is shaped up so far. But I'm not going to go for someone that I would normally go for probably in this spot, because I feel like that person's alliance is going to be in trouble this season. I just have this feeling about it. So I'm going to go for the person that impressed me the most last season and I underestimated the most. I'm going to go for Melissa in this next spot.
You don't even know her name.
Melinda, sorry.
It's okay.
I was thinking about someone different, but Melinda. So Melinda, last season, obviously with the King's Palace, she's got some allies there, and Nehemiah. She's got LT coming back. So there's Wes, so there's a few options for her, I think, socially to work. And socially, she was really good last season, I felt like. And again, similar to Nehemiah, who is in the opposite side here, Chantele is your first guy pick. I felt like she deserved to win that season. I still feel like Nehemiah and her, they were the power duo in that finale, and definitely could feel a certain type of way because they didn't end up winning it. So I feel very confident picking her this low. It was between her and somebody else, but I really feel like the numbers are going to favor her this season. And I think there's going to be options, and I want options for her in the show. Now, personality-wise, will she be the most entertaining person to watch? I don't really think so. I think she's a bit vanilla as a person. Like based off what I saw last season, I didn't see any of her original seasons, but I feel okay picking her at this spot. Chantele, what do you think here of this pick?
I mean, I really enjoyed Melinda's arc last season, going from someone that I would probably never pick to someone that I was really impressed by and I was rooting for. And I also agree, I felt it deserved to have the win. If they had a normal final, she would have been a winner. So I think that the format actually screwed her out of a title. And if she had that title, maybe I would have been picking her. All of us would have probably been picking her earlier. I guess my only issue with Melinda is that she doesn't have a great track record in general. Like, yes, she had a great season last season. Awesome. But then I'm like, but she's not that great at a lot of different things. So I just don't know if I have faith in her doing having the same results this season, like some other people where it's like, they always show up, they always turn out, they always get to the end. And so I don't know if I have that with her yet. So if this season she ends up getting to the final and doing it equally as well, then there will be never a chance where I wouldn't be picking her higher. But I just think that she hasn't fully had like the consistency of being a good player for me to want to choose her any higher than here. But she's around this pick for me.
So I think this is a huge step up for Melinda from last season. She was my last woman's pick, which was the last, like second to last. Sophia was the last woman picked in last season's draft. So Melinda was just before Sophia. We called her the steal of the draft, Melinda, getting all the way to the finals, despite having some story arc, despite having a reason to get confessionals, having been in these two warring alliances, she only got 58 total points. Pretty much the last place. Well, Janelle was the last one with 47 points. So
Who?
Just coming in over Janelle with 11 more points. I mean, Melinda only had 58 total points, and that was 34 confessionals, 2 daily wins, and 2 elimination wins. Albeit one of those elimination wins was Tina kind of like sacrificing herself or throwing her season away. So I agree with Chantele that it is a huge question mark still of Melinda. I do think that I'm very happy that you chose her, because I would have felt really bad being the person that chose Melinda last season and then leaving her on the board possibly for this next pick, where I'm like kind of going between 2 to 3 other people. And now that you've taken Melinda off the board, I'm now just between 2 people. But I think she could be a solid pick. She is coming in with a lot of numbers, a lot of solid alliances already. So I think she could go far, but being in solid alliances with a lot of people that can overshadow her and have more confessional time is the worrying part. And if this is going to be a solo season throughout, I don't know what the season could curtail, but if it is a solo season, I kind of worry for Melinda. But yeah.
Yeah. I hear you guys on that, and I think it's all valid points. I just felt like for someone that got so close to winning, like I didn't want to, and this is where, I don't normally make choices with my heart on the show, but I didn't want to disrespect her to be in the last, bracket here when I was so
We're thankful
impressed
that
by
you
the
did this for
performance.
us. So.
Yes, thank you.
Gotta show some respect. And listen, I feel okay with
Definitely
this.
not my next pick.
Yeah, like
Or the one
person
after.
the person I was thinking in between here, I felt like really disappointed me last season. And I didn't want to make that same mistake.
That's who I
2
thought
times
you were
in a
going
row.
with.
So you kind of know who I thought I was going with, but I was just like, I'm not gonna like after that performance last season, I had to get the hell out and just go in a different direction. So
break up. Wow.
break free, Drew, you're next year with the female picks, and we still have 3 female picks on the board. Who are you going to go for?
We actually have 4. We have 4.
4
women left.
Yeah, you're right. You're 4. Yeah.
So I'm between 2, and it's either going with my heart or my head. And
heart.
I think I'm going to have
heart.
to go with my heart, and somebody that I am. You know what? I'm going to go with somebody who comes onto the challenge and doesn't know anything but to win challenges. And that is going to be the real OG, or a real OG. And that is Roni from season 2, The Challenge, Real World Road Rules Challenge. She won that season. And also the Gauntlet season 7, winning that season. That's her only 2 seasons. She won both of them. Yes, she has never been in elimination, but she didn't need to go into elimination. She played a good enough game, a good enough social, political. She showed that she had some strength in there, a social game, and she's shown in the trailer a good amount in some of the trailers. So you know what? I love Roni. I'm rewatching the Real World Road Rules Challenge on my Patreon, and I just love her. And she doesn't know she doesn't know anything but to win. And I think I hear her in the voiceover in the trailer saying, you don't come on to the challenge and not try to win. And if she's coming in with that mentality, I get shivers. So to me, Roni is my pick. She was my 6th or 7th. She was in the middle, and I'm happy to draft her here.
She was definitely my next pick. So I was like I don't fully remember her, but like obviously her record, her stats say a lot. And to come back, wanting to come back to do well, like you said with that voiceover, it's like I think that she's going to do well, or people might fear her because she has kind of like that fire behind her. Like maybe people are not going to want to go up against her. It could be an old seasons versus new season type alliance, that could end up happening, because there are a lot of people that are from like the early 2000s seasons that like might want to group together because they would be the older people on, and they want to kind of go and take out some of the newbies. So I think that she could be insulated in that. I think that she's going to do a great job. I think
think I'm interested to see if she's going to be a confessional queen. So I don't know her in that regard, but I definitely had her as my next pick. So good job. I should have said head.
That was my head. That was my head pick.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
wait, no, that was my heart pick. It was my heart pick, not my head pick.
Lovable Nikki. She was saying there's probably a different pick there for you that could have been your head. Not okay. Well, I guess for me with Roni, listening to the trailer, I think that it was her with that voiceover that said that previously men have run this game and now, women can be just as dominant or something like that. I feel like that was her that had that line in there. And like you said, she featured heavily in the trailer throughout, which made me think that she's either going to be a very big character that goes in that early portion of the game or go very deep. I don't think there's going to be any middle ground with her on the show. The thing that shocked me the most about Roni was that when I looked at her bio, it said that she's in her 40s. She looks no older than 28. Right? I mean, she looks young,
incredible,
fit, athletic. I mean, I think she's going to be an absolute powerhouse on this season if it comes down to physicality. I just don't know what she's like when it comes to the mental stuff. No idea, no point of reference to go back to that. And then also, you just mentioned here, Drew, that this could be a single season, maybe not even a duo season. I think her seasons she won in teams in the past. So how's she going to adapt to that? And then also playing a more fast-paced game with a bigger strategic, social dynamic to it. How's she going to fit into those things? But again, it's end game here. I think it's a good solid pick, just even based off what we saw on the trailer. It looks like she's going to feature heavily because guess who featured a lot in the previous season's trailer? Nehemiah. So, I mean, could she be like a Nehemiah character here this season that no one sees coming? I'm excited to see how it shapes up for the season.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like, I think she did play a season with Mark on season 2. Maybe she has an alliance with Mark playing on that season with him so long ago. But you know who she gives me vibes of? And that is Kendall from season 1. I mean, she's coming in. She hasn't played since way long ago in the past. I do think that she could be thrown into elimination maybe once, maybe twice, but I think she could come out of it. I think she's the person that can go into an elimination, win her first, second eliminations, and then people be like, I don't want to go up against her. She's sent 2 people home already, kind of thing. And that's what we got from Kendall in the first season before she got sent home because Nehemiah chose her as the partner. So that's where I'm kind of getting the vibe. She's in the trailer a lot. I can only imagine her in that mud pit, running out in front of everybody, grabbing that ball, and then getting ready to go over, giving a stiff arm to Nia. Like, how can you not get shivers about that when you're watching that? Like, that's just that's my heart picking it. And she's a champion. She's a 2-time champion. Like, you can't leave that on the board. You can't leave her on the board.
2 for 2.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive numbers statistically, and Drew, you being the numbers man, it makes a lot of sense. I did want to say here, we had a very interesting request here from King Cash in the live chat. He asked, can we get points for dancing after elimination wins? Should we make a late entry here, Drew, to have dancing? I don't know if, without tech this season, I feel like we might be a little bit more light in the dancing section or portion of the game afterwards, because I felt like he brought a lot of that energy to last season.
I will say, I will give, let's make this a thing. 25 bonus points if an alliance on this season makes a song and puts it on Spotify.
Yeah, listen, like that would be hilarious. But Tech Money was the brainchild of Save the Palace last season. I don't know if we've got that kind of creativity here on this season, but hey, it was a lot of fun to watch and interesting request there. And I think someone else said, can we have points for every time Chantele loses someone in the draft pick as well? So here we go. Sophie saying, can we get points whenever Chantele loses a team member?
Please, you guys are all going to eat your words when I become the confessional queen. Yes.
Drew, who is your next guy pick as we go into our final 3 guys here for this season? Who are you not willing to leave on the board?
This is tough. This is tough, right? We're at the last 3 guys. And to me, it comes down to, you have somebody who did well last season, didn't go into a single elimination. He's definitely going to be seeing eliminations this season. Can he win? Possibly. but he also has no personality whatsoever. He has the personality of a dried mop. Or wet mop, whichever one's worse. I think a dry mop is worse because it doesn't pick anything up. And then you have somebody who is good at eliminations, but doesn't really play the game unless somebody else like brings him into it. And it's like, if that alliance is kind of broken up this season and is completely in somewhere else, where does that leave him? And then there's another person who is injury prone. And he has the most personality out of the other two, but will he make it far? And if he hurts his back again, can he, is he gonna DQ? Is he not gonna be able to go on? Like, man, this
so the injury prone person is gonna go to Chantele.
Pretty much.
Just put it
I
out
mean,
there.
I've already figured that out at this point.
this is difficult. This is difficult for me. You know what? This stinks. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I want you guys to pick the other two so I can have this one just given to me, because this one's really difficult.
Choose.
You know what? Just because I think I can get elimination wins are more than messy points, but I kind of want messy points. I'm gonna go with. I already got one of the rumored makeout people on there, and I'll get the next one. So I'm gonna pick MJ. Wish it was Michael Jordan. It's just whatever his real name is.
Before you tell us why you picked MJ, I'm just going to tell you I'm gutted because I was thinking to myself, you know what? I've got a team full of champion guys. What if I could just put one more champion in there and have like all champions in my team? So yeah,
you still can.
Yeah, I still can. I still can. That's putting it out there, but that would change things up for me a little bit.
But I picked MJ because he does have a decent elimination record, or at least compared to the other two. I don't know. I guess I just chose him for makeout points, and if he goes into an elimination, maybe he can make it out. He did win last season. He's going to get a big target on his back. I just think it's like, I worry for Laterian because the Save the Palace Alliance, I don't know if it's going to be formed this season. I think Nehemiah is going to be so close to Wes. Melinda is going to be so close to Nehemiah, who is going to be so close to Wes. Will Laterian be able to find his way onto there? And if he is in that alliance, is he going to be so far on the outside? Is he going to be even able to play the strategical game, or is he going to play a lone wolf kind of game? It's tough because Nehemiah, Tech, and Melinda needed Laterian last season. But what's going to happen when they don't necessarily need him?
And he's not good at like getting in there and making any decisions. Kind of like you said, he gets swooped up and he's part of it. But like, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and if he gets into an elimination, that's not a pole wrestle. I mean, he's 0 for 2, and getting another pole wrestle for a third season in a row, I think is I think pushing it. I think it's pushing it. I'm worried for it. So I don't want, if you told me I was going to pick MJ and Derrick on this no, I would have laughed and said,
your number one position.
Crazy.
There you go. She selected this team.
You are crazy.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you have the pick of the litter and you go with the bearded ginger as number one for the season in West. You know, you end up with not so many choices for the rest of the season. But yeah, listen,
how do I feel like I picked majority of the people that I have up on my tier, but I just feel bad when I pick MJ. Like, I'm just, I feel sluggish now.
It's okay. It's okay. It's the last round, so
I feel like we could probably.
He's a winner.
We know who I'm going to pick next. I'll talk about MJ and Laterian both at the same time. So there's a bit of shade thrown to Laterian here. You know, I'm with you, lovable Nikki. You know, Laterian is great. Let's put it out there. You know, listen. I just think with Laterian, again, like, he has got some options. I do think he is going to fall, like you said, in the outer layers, last picks. It's not like he's going to win the season or anything like that, but he's going to fall on the outer layers of, I think, the alliance that's going to dominate this season. So I feel like he's going to be there for a while. He's not going to go in the first couple of rounds. I just don't see Laterian being a first 3 episode elimination person. And
he's kind of the type that would throw himself down there, though, to protect the team.
Yeah,
he is. But, you know, I feel like both him and Syrus are kind of similar, old school approach to the game, throw ourselves in front of a bullet, you know, talk about loyalty and all that kind of thing. And I know they're good friends as well. I just feel like Laterian has had an extra season that Syrus has not had. at this time, which will make him a little bit more adjusted to the new school game. And he's got a few people there now. I think he's also a confidence player. And now, having had a season where he's done a lot better, that confidence is going to carry him into this next season. And let's be honest, man, like this guy, if he goes into a headbanger in a physical elimination, he's going to be tough to take out. So I feel okay having Laterian in the spot. No shade to MJ. I think, MJ is just in that position that that's why I was so shocked that Jemmye went so high on your picks here this season, Drew. I think that was the biggest shock if I look at your team for, like, not because she's not capable. It's just, I think the target on both of them this season is just going to be immense, and I think that Jemmye probably even has a bigger target on her than MJ. Personally coming into the season. So, but yeah, you've got both of them. So kudos to that. I'm happy to get LT here in the spot. Chantele, talk us through your thoughts on both of those guys as we close you off here with the final pick. And remember, your final pick for All-Stars won the whole thing. Do you think that history will repeat itself here this season?
No. Not for the men. I mean, I like Syrus. I like seeing that he's coming back here. But it does worry me, the accident prone thing. He's one of the oldest people on this season. So he's 50 and he's not the same 50 as Mark Long is 50. Mark Long seems to be a little bit more agile and a little bit more capable of doing some of these challenges. So I hope that he's going to do well because he has a lot of heart. He shows that he wants to be there. He's coming back with trying to prove something. He's always trying to prove something. And I can appreciate that he's going to try to do well. So I don't know how well he's going to do. He doesn't have the best track record in the last few seasons that he's been on, but I'm hoping that because there's a little bit of people from an older generation of the challenge, that maybe he'll have some insulation there. So I'm happy with having him, but he was my number 12 pick anyways. So I was trying to dissuade you because I was with Laterian. I was like, ooh, maybe Laterian sucks. And then I was not going to share the fact that also could potentially get some makeout points or fight points with Melinda. Who knows what happened with their kind of flirtmance that was happening. So I didn't want to include that to make him more enticing, but I definitely wanted to have either MJ or Laterian before. I'm sorry, Syrus, but you just haven't been doing that well in these last few seasons, but I hope you do.
I think it's funny because I rewatched a clip for Inferno. And on that season, they were majority of the cast was making fun of Syrus, calling him a grandpa because he was 31 on that season, while everybody else was 22 and 24. And now thinking he's on All Stars, and it's just I like Syrus. I love his personality. I wish Beth was on the season with him because I feel like she always had his back and that he had that person. I think he's gonna have friends with Derrick and Mark, but I just don't know how well they're gonna protect him. I just don't know. I
mean, maybe he'll be able to befriend Jemmye in that, and so maybe he'll get some insulation with that with my loudmouth crew. So hopefully we'll see obviously how he does. I hope he does well, but I don't expect him to, unfortunately.
Can I just say I'm sweating bullets because that last pick, MJ pick, is my last pick. I'm just gonna be sitting here waiting for the next 4 picks to go to see who I get. So well, the last 2 that we just did, and now these 2. So I'm kind of just waiting here. Just
Chantele, the pressure is on you. Can you pick a winner here as your last female pick for the season? Can we repeat the Yes Duffy magic here on this season?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Because I know that Chris still wanted to get this person, hoping that I wouldn't take her. She is definitely capable of doing well. She unfortunately got taken out last season because she got COVID from a crew member and she wasn't able to complete it. And then she also had an injury where when she jumped in, I don't know if that was the actual injury that she had or if it was the COVID that took her out, but she is capable of doing well. And I think that with having her son as being her coach, I really think that she's coming back to prove something to her children. And I think that gives a lot of fiery energy for her to succeed and do better this time around. I think she wants to do better and better and better and better. I do have faith that she can. I with one of the other two, I just don't remember her, and she would be probably the oldest woman on the season, so I'm not sure how well she's going to do. And then the other one, I'm just not a big fan of. So I definitely want to go with Kendall. I want to support someone that's like my age, just saying. And that, like, I want her to do well. I want her to succeed. We were starting to root for her, and she got taken out kind of unfairly. So I think that if last season we were going to pick her pretty high, I think she was a number 1 draft pick last season. Like, we're leaving her till 3rd last. Like, I think she still has the upside of doing well in one of these seasons. So I have faith that Kendall will do better.
Absolute steal of the draft here in the last round. I just had to go between the two blondes here at the end, and I had to think about the allegiances, and if Kendall goes and falls outside of that with Darrell and that side of the house, then she's potentially going to go quite early. But I mean, getting her in the last round, we know she's physically capable. We know people feared her in the first season and that she went in there and kicked ass at eliminations. And I do think that, yes, like if there is someone in this last round that can repeat the Yes Duffy magic, then, you know, I kind of shot myself in the foot by leading in that one. I'm like, oh, damn, I shouldn't have said that, because now you definitely.
I had her higher, though. I had her at 8 overall, so I would have taken her for sure.
Yeah, so I mean, definitely probably the steal here of the season. I think that she could do extremely well. The one problem I had with her, and why I said, like, you know, this person burned me last season, was confessionals wise. I think she had like 0 confessionals until she went out of the game, right, Drew? Like, I feel like bottom person for me that season, if I remember correctly.
Kendall was given the honorary bust of the draft because she was your highest
female.
She was your first pick on the women's side, and she only got 7 total points despite getting through half the season. Now, take that with a grain of salt, because production knew while editing the show that she was only going to make it halfway through the show. So they probably didn't want to invest so much screen time for somebody that they knew that was going to be sent home. But she had 9 confessionals, -2 for the DQ. And yeah, she got a total of 7 points, which is why I refrained from. I was hoping that she would kind of fall down to me, hoping at some point that maybe I could have a really solid pick.
She would never have been left last, so you would have had to have picked her.
I mean, but I do want to say that I'm always going to root for Kendall, whether she's on my team or not. I really hope that she can get to the finals. I would love to see it. I just think that she is a wild card or a risk after the last season, after seeing last season, and like Chris was saying, it was a quick turnaround. So we don't know. There is the rumors that she did get COVID, or somebody broke protocol and she got COVID and had to be sent home. She also mentioned in the episode her back, so we don't know if that's the case. But it's kind of like the Laterian case. She kind of just floats around. She is a strong competitor, so people want to keep her around. She sticks close to Darrell, but 2 seasons and 0 finals, even though she is a very strong competitor. So I think that's in all of our minds as we were going through this draft. But I'm always gonna root for Kendall. So I hope she can make it far, and I hope she's the steal of the draft this season.
Yeah, I think it's a very, very good chance of that happening. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I am a man of the people, as you guys could see here with my earlier pick that I made with Baby Ice, and I want to again make a pick here of the people. I know it's the last round and probably less risk, but I am going to go with Cynthia for this next
Sylvia.
pick.
Oh, Cynthia, sorry.
Cynthia, yeah.
Cynthia,
with Sylvia going that way. So with that, you know, it's funny enough, a lot of people might think Chris does not know who the OG is, but I have actually watched the first season of the Challenge Road Rules. So I do know who she is. I don't know how she's going to adapt to the new game and where it has moved in the future and how well she's going to fit in with those new kids on the block. But I want to give the respect to the original person here of the challenge and make sure that she's not going to be the last pick here for the season. I've got quite a few people here saying the Queen and yeah, Chris, listen to your co-captain, Baby Ice. I listen to all of you guys, okay? I listen to all of you guys. That's why I wanted to make...
Baby Ice screwed me out of some people, though, because I'm like, oh, Baby Ice, come on, don't give him the hints.
I feel like I represent the people here this season, you know? Chris, the people's choice, with the people's team, except for Wes. I know everybody would have loved to have Wes in their team, but yeah, I'm happy with those picks. I don't know, Drew, is there something that I should know? Is there a few of your listeners that try to booby trap you here? Because a few of them said they wanted you to have Sylvia here at the end, and they wanted Drew to end up with her. Is this sabotage happening here, or what's going on? Is there something we should know?
I think they just wanted to help you out because they like you more than me, apparently. So this is the thing with Cynthia. She is the biggest unknown. Is the biggest wild card. She was on the first season. She won real OG, real challenge OG, winning the first season. Then she was on Battle of the Sexes and was voted out in episode 6. And we haven't seen her, or episode 9, and we haven't seen her since, kind of thing. Or I think she was on Battle of the Sexes too. It's either one of those Battle of the Sexes. I think Cynthia is a great pick here. I think that she has potential. She could go very far, or she could be sent into elimination over and over again, kind of like Roni, kind of like Sophia, kind of like Ayanna was. We've seen these OG women kind of get thrown in, and everybody's saying you have to earn your stripes, despite being the people that made that were on the ground level of this game to make it to where it can be an all-star spinoff and be showing off champs and finalists. So I think Baby Ice did you a solid by telling you to go Cynthia, getting the queen. Real world Miami represent. I'm in Florida, so it would have been cool to have like a kind of hometown pick there. But I mean, I'll take Sylvia. Sylvia's young. I'm actually, I'll be honest, I'm quite surprised that you didn't pick Sylvia, because she is one of the younger.
Final Reckoning. And she's from Final Reckoning, the first season I watched, so I actually know who she is. Yeah.
Made it to the finals.
Lavender Ladies? Wasn't Kailah in Lavender Ladies? Or am I just, I don't know. Was
No.
Kailah? No, it's just Ashley. And who else is in the Lavender Ladies? I hate
Amanda, Ashley, and Shane, were the Lavender Ladies. But Kailah in the Holy Trinity were against the Lavender Ladies the whole time. So there could be this feud between them. Maybe that's who Sylvia is saying, I want her head on a platter, or I want her head off, is Kailah. Or they're going to try to like band together and be like, we're the young people, we should try to take out all the old people, or whatever they're going to try to do. Either way, Sylvia made it far into her Final Reckoning season, made it to the only finals because she was partnered up with a very strong competitor. Granted, she had a lot of friends on that season as well, with the Lavender Ladies and the Lavender Ladies partners and Joss. They were so close to winning. You know what? I will say that I was surprised with her elimination record when I was looking up her stats. She's like 5-2 in eliminations, I believe. That's a positive, but Sylvia is such a wild card. I don't think she's coming in with many, if at all, friends. So I don't know. She had a huge fight with Kailah on Invasion, and I don't know where that could go from. I mean, she was friends with Marie, who was friends with Jemmye. Could they be a group together? I don't know. This is a huge question mark. I mean, these last 3 picks are just huge question marks to me. So I'll take Sylvia because I need to. I need that last pick. But I don't know what to expect from Sylvia. All I can say is cool with the age and cool with the elimination record, but I don't know what else.
Great in her photo.
Yeah, and I don't know what else to say about that. I think she's doing an HGTV show, so she's got cameras. She got camera stuff. I don't know. I don't think she's great in confessionals. I don't know what to say about her.
The only thing that I remember liking about Sylvia is when she won that elimination against Melissa. I remember I was really rooting for her that season. I was like impressed by her. I was like, yes, do it. Like, I was definitely cheering for her in that round. So that's the only time that I remember liking her. And then it all disappeared, unfortunately. But
and she beat, I will say this, Sylvia beat Kailah in Invasion, in the Tuck Tuck Bang Bang, where they had to hit the car, and everybody was counting
Kailah
Sylvia out.
Really, her strategy was terrible.
Her and Tony's strategy was terrible, but Shane and Sylvia were able to pull it out. So I mean, great on them. Also, I just want to throw it out there. Baby Ice, you helped pick half of Chris's team for him. Of course you're going to back Chris's team. Get out of here. It would be funny if you were like,
don't be jealous.
Pick this person. I'm going to back Chantele. Sabotage Chris.
Hey, Drew, don't be jealous of me and Ice, baby. We're going to be going all the way this season. And
but like a lot of his picks were my next picks, and I was just like, no, he's not going to pick that person. He's not going to pick. No. And then then I look at the chat. I'm like, damn it.
What you guys didn't know is I had a true insider on the live stream here today with me, telling me the details and the info. And I just had enough of that craziness about me to throw away all my notes and just go with it, So now, in all fairness, I thank you so much for everybody that's listened to the live and have been so active and commenting on this. This has been a lot of fun to put these teams together. Overall, how are we feeling about our teams? Drew, you were the one that had first dibs on this team coming into it. Out of a score of 1 to 10, how confident are you about the overall? And remember, this is not just about who outright is going to win this season. There is a lot of complexity to this season that makes it very interesting with the point system that we've got in place. How confident are you feeling at this point?
I don't know how confident I can be. I mean, this was a lot of fun. I love going over these players in this way. I love the way we do the draft and getting to talk and do the points, but this was a roller coaster. I'll be honest. I mean,
okay, so let's do it this way. Biggest get and biggest bust in your opinion in regards to who you've got on your team prior to the season. Obviously, get has to be Wes. I mean, you had the pick of the litter there.
I mean, I'm flying high when I get like Wes, Mark. I thought I was going to be on cloud 9 with Jonna, and then everybody in the chat and you guys were like, oh, you could have waited. And then it's just like all crashing down when I had to pick
Literally
Derrick.
had Jonna at 6.
Yeah, I had to pick Derrick and then MJ, and then I get Sylvia dropped in my lap. I don't know. I think this is interesting. You know what I really enjoy about the way we did it this season is that we're all very knowledgeable. We know majority of these players and the seasons that they played, that we're not just picking the same people that we picked last season and kind of going with it. It's kind of refreshing that I'm getting new players, even though I had my eye on some of the previous players that I had last season. I was really looking forward to hopefully having Wes and Nehemiah kind of back-to-back picks and maybe getting Kellyanne or Naya. And it kind of got thrown off a little bit. And you know what? It keeps everybody on their toes. Now it's like, do I still root for Nehemiah because I really liked him last season, but he's not on my team? Like, it's kind of like I'm getting pulled. And you know what? That's the fun of it. I think that's what makes it fun. It's not like all three of us don't know who these players are. We are all very knowledgeable. We all can like have a big strategy in our brains and then still be able to throw everybody off. And I never thought I would have Derrick. I never thought I would have MJ. and it's fun now that I have to like, these are the players that I'm going to be having for the rest of the season and see where this could go and see where everybody else
gets voted off. Like, you're going to be like, oh God.
All I know is it's Drew and Derrick, boys for life this season, They ride together, they die together this season. So I can't wait to see Drew coming onto the recaps, having to talk about his boy Derrick and his performance on the Challenge All-Stars 3. But you're right. I mean, it's fun to mix it up and have different people in different teams that didn't have the previous season. I think my most boring and predictable person is Darrell, because I feel like I've had him twice now in 2 different seasons. Just an obvious pick there.
Yeah.
Before I talk about my team too much as we close this off, Chantele, your feelings about the draft overall, who's you feel biggest get and potentially the one that you're the most afraid about since they're now in your team and you're going to have to be team them this season. Give us your final thoughts.
I mean, for me, I feel like I'm pretty happy with my team. My biggest get absolutely is Kendall, and she's somebody that I would have picked higher up. And so she's not someone that just like, on the last round I would expect to be getting. So I think that she's definitely like the surprise last round pick. So I'm very happy to have her on my team, especially since I would have drafted her at 8. And so I got her at, 10. So that's pretty good. Who am I worried about? Well, any of the loudmouths, right? Like Tina especially is who I'd be most worried about. I picked her first for the women, and that's putting a lot of faith in her not having some sort of emotional reaction and deciding to quit the game. Now, I don't see her doing it this time around because of course, like she probably hates herself for doing it last season, but she's coming back and she has friends. And I think that she's going to want to prove something to herself and everybody else and be like, oh, I'm not the quitter. Like I'm coming here to play. And I'm worried that she, might, throw a punch or decide to quit. But I think that that's what's exciting about Tina is that she could be a really good get, or she could be my flop because of something that she does. So I'm happy to support her. I think that she's fun. I'm excited to hear her confessionals. I like what she has to say. I like her be the commentary of the season. So she's my most fun pick, but I'm also really scared that she might be volatile as well. So Tina.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting when I'm looking at our three teams that all three of us have got a high risk pick in our first two picks for this season. Obviously, you've got Jemmye for Drew that I think has got the biggest target coming in this season. I've got Jordan, which is either going to be the big brain move off the season to get him here based on past experience, or the absolute, it could be my Kendall. Not that I think he won't get confessionals. He'll definitely be vocal, but he could bust out early. And then you've got Tina, who could go either way this season as well. So that's exciting in itself. I really am happy with my team overall. The biggest get's probably Nia. Is it Nia or Nia? Sorry, I'm going to mess this up the whole season, guys. Nia. Biggest get is Nia due to obviously having a look at the chat at that time. And Ice Ice Baby, if we do win with her, I will give you some of the credit for putting it out there in the ether. I feel like a lot of people are high on her coming into this season. So I feel good about changing the script up a little bit on that. I don't really want to show disrespect to anyone in my team because I do actually like every single person in this team. And I feel like I'm more behind this team than what I've ever been behind any of my teams going into a season. And that is thanks to the brilliant casting of this season, because we're going to have so many people. And Baby Ice, yeah, like Baby Ice with the clutch pick there for me. But yeah, so exciting. It's been so much fun talking about this season. I mean, it's not that long now. It's the 11th of May. We have our premiere. Then we will be back every single week to talk about each episode of All Stars 3 here on the Nullified Take channel on YouTube, and also Reality Realness with 3 S's. So if you're listening to this on either of those platforms, it would mean so much to both myself and Chantele if you could subscribe to both of our channels and show support so we can continue to do this content that we love to share with you. We haven't forgotten about Drew, obviously, the Angelcake Entertainment channel with a lot of great content for the challenge. I mean, this is what his channel is built off, and I know he's expanding in other things and doing a great job as well. So definitely go and subscribe there as well if you haven't done so already. And very exciting news if you haven't had enough of us here. This 2 hours and 15 minutes in, myself and Chantele will be back on Drew's own podcast for the Angelcake Entertainment channel. And Drew, do you want to give people a little bit of information in regards to what we'll be doing and when they can expect to get that? I'm not sure if it's live or not, so let us know.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be live. It's going to be tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we're going to be doing a Challenge 38 fantasy draft cast live. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be suggesting people that we want to see on the next challenge season. And if we don't come to a consensus, like if one player, like if we all have like, let's just say, just throwing it out there, he's not going to be on the next season, but if we all said CT and we all had CT on there, he would directly go onto the cast list. But if say Chris has Cara Maria, and then Chantele has Laurel, and then I had Evelyn. She's never going to come back. But just to throw that out there, if none of us have any of those 3 players, we're going to put them up to a vote, and everybody in the chat will get to vote on who they want to see out of those 3 picks make it onto the cast. And so it'll be like all of us as a community coming up with a fantasy cast for the Challenge 38. It's going to be for fans, by fans. And I think it's going to be a fun time. I haven't done a fantasy cast in a while, and I kind of wanted to bring in Chantele and Chris and also the chat. And so I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And we're going to be, we're all going to be together doing a 24-person draft. And I think it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think it's going to be another long podcast there because there's going to be so much to jump into. Unlike this one, where it can be hard sometimes to get the live audience involved as you're trying to think through your points for why you're choosing someone. And I know I try to get you guys as involved as possible today. We love the community. We love talking to you guys and having you involved in all of the recaps that we do, asking your own questions. We'll try and respond to as much as we can. And then obviously what Drew's doing tomorrow on his channel, that's going to be very interactive. So I'm really excited because myself, Drew, and Chantele, we've got very different views on. We'll have some people that's the same, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot of different opinions on who should be on the challenge season 38. So I'm really excited. A lot of eye rolls from Chantele, especially every time I bring in a new rookie from Big Brother.
I'm not even going to put her on the list. I'm not even going to put her
You're going to let it go to a vote?
Not even gonna let it go to. I would let it go to a vote. I'm not even gonna put her on my list. Just so
don't you tempt Chris?
Maria
You won't put
fans, make
Paulie
sure
on
you're
his
there.
list.
Chantele, as we're closing off here, let people know where can they find you. Obviously, Reality Realness with 3 S's. What is happening over the next week? What are you currently covering on your channel?
Well, things are starting to dwindle down. So just live after the episode talking about Big Brother. So on Mondays, I do it with Sarah from Nerdtainment. Thursdays, we talk about Survivor, usually at 7 p.m. Eastern. Also, though, I'm going to do a little different thing. So in the afternoon, tomorrow and Sunday, I will be doing some tarot predictions for this cast. So you guys are getting all of the Challenge All-Star content this weekend. You know, they dropped the cast. They were like, okay, it's time to start talking about these players. So on Saturday, we're going to be talking about, or we're doing the tarot predictions for the men. Sunday, we're going to be doing it for the women, both at 2 p.m. Eastern. So it's going to be me and Jonathan, so that you might know from some Big Brother recaps that I do. We're going to be pulling some cards, looking at the astrology signs, seeing who we think it might be working together or whatnot, who we think is going to do well. And we're going to kind of pull some cards and talk about predictively what we think, how we think the season's going to go. So check it out. Tomorrow 2 p.m. and Sunday 2 p.m. Eastern.
Exciting. Drew, what's happening on the Angelcake Entertainment channel currently? Obviously, we just mentioned that everything the challenge related. What should people look out for?
Yeah, I got a lot of stuff coming out for Challenge All-Stars. I'm going to be doing Endurance comes out on Sundays. We're wrapping up season 3. That is a roller coaster. And then Monday, I'm having my early power rankings for All-Stars 3. Did a lot of research, as you can tell from when I was talking about survival percentages and all that other stuff. So I'm going to be doing power rankings for the men and the women very early, going in after watching the trailer and who could be working with whom and who could be against whom. So that's going to be coming out on Monday morning. And then I'm also going to be doing some clips from old Challenge throwback seasons of who's on All-Stars 3, kind of giving like some background on some of the Challenge competitors that people may not recognize or have watched their seasons in the past, as well as doing Friday Challenge videos. And then, of course, the live tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with both Chris and Chantele. And I just want to say, this was a highlight. I've missed coming to chat with you guys about the challenge, and this has been so much fun. It didn't even feel like 2 hours and 20 minutes. I just wanted to talk about these competitors. I just wanted to. This is like my favorite part of anything, like fantasy drafts, whether it's football or the challenge. Is always my favorite part. And then getting to go through the season, of course, but just being able to talk and assess everybody is always just so much fun to me. So I just want to say thank you, and I can't wait to just do this every single week, is talk about the challenge and our picks and seeing how much I win by, and it's just gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be a good time for all.
I want the chat to like, not the chat, but people that are watching in the replay, in the comments, I want to rank the order of these draft teams. So I just want to see what people are thinking as to
let's put it to the community. I'll put a vote up on my community page, a poll. Yeah, so you guys can vote between Team Chris, Team Drew, and Team Chantele for who you think's got the strongest team.
I want to.
And I'll link it so
messy.
I'll link it so Chantele, you and Drew can both share it on your channels as well. So that way, everybody can get involved. And I think, just to reiterate what Drew said, like, this is the most fun part for me as well. Like, I'm a massive Survivor fan. That's where reality TV started for me, right? But the challenge, the community that we've got here, and a lot of that is thanks, Drew, to what you've built on the Angelcake Entertainment channel that have come over, and then Chantele, what you've done on Reality Realness. This is a great community, and what makes this so fun is having other people that you can talk to about a show that you love that no one else, like, I've got no one else in my life that I could talk to outside of you here in the live stream and Drew and Chantele about the challenge. So it's so much fun to just nerd out about everybody that's going to be playing this season. And it's been so fun. I didn't know how much I missed it until we just did this. This 2.5 hours went by so quickly. And, I did feel guilty because a lot of people did subscribe in the beginning of my channel for challenge content. And then it's only been Survivor heavy and Amazing Race heavy. That is going to drastically change now as the challenge comes out. I've got a short form video that I did reacting to the trailer and also the cast drop that I didn't want to make available on my channel prior to doing this, because otherwise Drew and Chantele would have known my thinking coming into the drafting as well. So that'll drop probably in 24 hours from now as well. So if you want to have a laugh at how off script I went on some of the picks, then that probably will show what
Derrick,
my thinking was before.
MJ, Jonna,
Yeah, so I mean, I'm going to be experimenting. I'm going to continue to do shorter form and also podcasts and things like that. I'm still learning as I'm going. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, guys, and I want to give back more to the challenge community that have subscribed to my channel. So subscribe now on the Nullified Take channel for more challenge content. If you do just so happen to watch Survivor as well, I am still recapping that. I've got guests, international Survivor guests coming onto my podcast that have played the show before. I've got international Survivor interviews currently. And as we continue to grow this community, I think we're going to get more and more challenge people down the line as well that, keep an eye on it, keep supporting us. I've got no doubt we will get challenge contenders coming onto our podcast at some stage, and we'll be talking to them as well, which would be very exciting. But we can only do that with the credibility of you guys subscribing, and it's completely free. So consider doing that for all three of our channels. And with that, I think that is a wrap, guys. It's been so much fun, and catch you guys next time. Bye.